Welcome everyone to the JP Network. My name is Paul, and if this is your first time here, please like and subscribe for more videos and content such as this. Today we will be discussing. Hold on, let me start over. If you don't know us, please like and subscribe to Joanna and Paul and Love Beyond the Sea. Today we will be discussing on the topic of Are you ready for the Philippines? Tips and tricks. Tips and tricks. Are you really ready for your trip to the Philippines? Tips and tricks to help you be better prepared today. And with that said, I would like to introduce my buddy, good friend, and co-host Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Welcome, Bob.
Welcome, Paul. Glad to be here tonight. Hopefully, help out some guys.
Mm-hmm. Today we will be discussing. Actually, let's go ahead and do our disclaimer real quick. Our thoughts are our own, and there's always exceptions to the rule. We do not claim anything that is exactly solid, but everyone has and is entitled to their own opinions. But with that said, we will try to provide the best kind of information that we can provide. Right, Bob?
This is true.
Yeah. So, with that said, we will be discussing. Hopefully, more will join us today. But if not, and you are watching the replay, please like and subscribe. And we are about to begin. So, with that said, are you ready for the Philippines? Bob, do you think people are ready for the Philippines?
You mean for the very first time?
Yeah.
Because you do learn a lot.
Yeah.
When you go and you get used to the whole thing. But I would say, I know, probably short term, yes. Long term, probably not, because so many expats leave the Philippines. Once they get settled in after 2 or 3 years, they're gone.
Yeah.
But for a short term, you're not really going to experience anything really negative or probably dangerous. But there's still some things you should know about being in a foreign country for the very first time. Paul and I have both been there. Well, we went there to marry. At least I did with my wife the first time. Paul, I'm not sure how many trips you made. And I've been there 4 times since, but there's always that first time.
Yeah.
And it can be a little daunting, even if you're flying, to a neighboring state, especially hours and hours and different flight changes and dealing with TSA and
TSA,
the inability to communicate. I don't know. There's all kinds of things that you can try to be prepared for, but even if you are, you still have to endure it. Somebody could say, be prepared for a long flight, watch some movies. Yeah. And you could do that and say, I've watched every movie on this plane and I still have 7 hours left to go. And I think I'm going to lose my mind. So there's no way you can really know what it's going to be like to endure like a 14.5-hour flight from LAX to Manila.
Yeah.
And we've done that a lot.
Especially with delays and all that.
Unless you can make yourself fall asleep, which is one other thing, maybe there's a place to fit that in here tonight, is sleeping pills.
I didn't think about that too. I mean, we can cover that too today. So
I didn't sleep a wink when I went there the first time. That was like a 36-hour trip, and I didn't sleep at all. I was too nervous and too excited, and I wouldn't have known how. And I look at all these other travelers, and they look like they've been doing this all their life, relaxing, covered up, socks on, something over their eyes.
Yeah, the iFold. Yeah, I bought one, but I didn't get to use it. And then I bought a travel pillow and everything too, and I didn't use that either.
Yeah, it kind of gets uncomfortable after a while.
It was very uncomfortable. Yeah, very uncomfortable to even try to even use that. It wasn't really worth bringing that much. But and we could talk about that and like that. But I want to start I want to start by saying, do you like, how was your energy? Like, how did you feel like your first time being like actually going there the very first time? Were you scared? Were you not scared? You feel anxious? Were you happy? Mixed emotions.
Well, I mean, look, this was such a dramatic time. I was going from being alone for 30 years and no one to now going there to meet the person I'm going to marry, unless something terrible happens before that. And so I don't know if I relaxed the whole trip. I know the jet lag did bother me because you when you get there, it's how does that work, Paul? It's like 13 hours later even though it's like something isn't right. And it does take that first time. Maybe you get used to it after that, but the first time I struggled for probably till day 3. And it's probably that time after that. It took about 3 days before I felt like didn't want to sleep,
Was
half
it
the day.
was it the day you got there? You got jet lag or no?
No, I think it was evident in the fact that I just felt very, very weak and tired for the
Mm,
next 2 or 3 days. Probably because of just emotion and then the time zone difference, which
yeah.
was a lot. Um, but other than that, I was just focused on everything I was there to do, which was to get married and go through paperwork and meet family and friends and just do everything that we had to do and look forward to when she got here,
Mhm.
later on the following year. And I don't know that I came up for air the whole time. It doesn't seem like it.
Mm.
It just doesn't seem like it. It was a fast, 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 life changing 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
Which one thing you
Uh,
might know more than I do is I think you only get 30 days on a typical uh, visa. I
yeah.
don't even know what you call it. It's
Yeah.
the one you don't need an extension for. You get it at the airport, but you can't
Um,
just stay there. You can't stay there forever. I think it's only good for 30 days.
yeah, so I got 30 days also when I went, and but I my flight got canceled, so I wound up staying an extra 2 days.
Ah,
And then they asked me, well, why I'm there an extra 2 days. And I was just like, because my flight got canceled. And they were like, do you have anything to prove that? And I was like, yeah, look, this travel advisory.
mm,
So, this weather advisory, and you guys closed down your airport. So, but yeah, I know with me per se, I know, and we will get to those. Warren, we'll get to your comments in a second. But with me per se, that it was kind of daunting, trying to really exciting getting there, and what I faced through the whole situation. I wound up I didn't get jet lag getting there, but I got a lot jet lag when I got back. A lot. It took me
yeah,
probably yeah, 2 or 3 days to kind of fully recover. And I'll talk to more about that maybe in the future. But I also felt a big deep sigh when I got back because I didn't know I was holding in all this anxiety of stuff that I was like dealing with while I was over there and then coming back. And that's something that I'm also going to be talking about in a later video too. But I I was really excited. I had my whole itinerary ready, and yeah, but just like you said, things just completely turned around. Whole life in 30 days just went by so quick. So that being said, so
yeah. I'm
Warren,
just puzzled by how your response is so much different than mine.
I don't know. Well, I think we all just had that. Yeah, it was just something like I don't know. I was fine being there, but when I got back, I didn't know I was holding in something. It was
Huh.
weird. Yeah. Yeah. Like I just get this big sigh of relief that, I did it, and that I'm finally out of that I wouldn't say wretched place, but kind of sort of. you know, it was a different kind of a culture, so it was kind of like dealing with I don't know. I Did you drive while you were there or no?
No, my wife actually did though.
Okay. Okay. So I had to deal with driving there, and it was kind of
I
that
wouldn't be here tonight if I had driven in the Philippines.
yeah. It felt stressful for me driving there. Really, really stressful, especially trying to make a left turn into traffic there. It was kind of difficult.
You just what do you do? Just kind of say, I've got to go here,
I got to
and
go
just
here,
just
and this
going
person,
in there and make them
and,
stop.
yeah, and we're going to talk about that. But let's cover what Warren has to say here. Is I graded my seat to premium select for my next trip. The seats are a like recliner, expensive but worth it. I know. I was looking at the pricing for me and my son. It was like $11,000 because my son was like, I wanted us to go to on
Right.
premium or
Oh,
business class, what it is, and I was like, I can't afford that. I don't know about you, but I can't afford that. Mm.
so Warren, I've never heard of Premium Select. So can you tell us which airline and if that's different than
Yeah, you
business
can definitely
class or
let us.
first class?
Yeah, you can let us know about that one.
Because my wife has always wanted that to try one time
Mm-hmm.
that long trip on first class, and I would do it for her, except for the two of us, it probably come out to around $10,000, where it's normally like
Yeah.
3,000, and it may even be wider than that. So no, even I wouldn't do that unless I was on my deathbed. Delta Airlines, okay. I
Yeah.
don't even know if we have Delta here where
Oh,
we live.
really?
But
Delta?
I've flown on Delta
Okay.
between Delta and United. It's whichever one turned out to be. So is that like business class, or is it just in between business class and whatever they call what do they call that, coach
Hmm.
or something else?
Well, that would be considered either a business or he's saying premium. So more than likely it's closer to a business or like an economy plus.
Not as expensive as
Yeah,
um,
close to there, probably around there.
more expensive
But
one.
he said he's flying it through Delta, so he's doing it domestically. I know Philippines, it depends on how he's getting to the Philippines. But if he's going through Philippine Airlines, which is the most logical route most times, I just put up a video too. But I mean, otherwise you're gonna have to reroute yourself to do like TransAsia and other ways around. You have to stop in Japan and then down. But or I think there's another way to go through like Alaska, like through Anchorage, and I think you actually go through Alaska, then down to Japan, then over. But that's long hours. So he says coach, then comfort plus, then premium select, then business. Okay. So you're right behind business. Okay, gotcha. That
Yeah,
works.
my wife wants to do that, but I'm okay. I don't
Yeah,
usually there's nobody sitting next to me anyway on
yeah,
those long flights, and so it's not like I feel like anybody's invading my space. And if we have to sleep, we just put our heads together, and
yeah,
it's no big deal to me.
yeah.
I don't need the extra leg room. She certainly doesn't.
Mm,
Anyone needs leg room, it's me. I'm over a foot taller.
mm.
But thanks for the explanation.
Yeah. I would like to sit closer to the doors, also next to the bathrooms,
Oh,
because
that's
those ones I would like to sit to next to because by the doors you have plenty of leg room, no matter what. I think that's what mostly crams me is just that little leg room that I can't even lean over if I drop something. So that's me. He says Buffalo and Atlanta to Tokyo on the Delta, then to Tokyo to Manila. Oh man. How many hours is that, Warren? Just let us know. But we're gonna keep going. We can answer comments as we go, but we're gonna keep going here. You know
Yeah, that's very similar to our
exactly.
schedule. And the travel agent they can't give you anything you want. The airlines have certain routes for certain places, certain airports.
Mhm.
And so you are limited, even though technically you might be able to do it another way. The patterns just won't allow it.
Yeah. So our first one is: are you prepared for your flight to the Philippines? We're gonna cover a little bit about it. So on average, I know Warren might talk about his trip. It's probably well over 40 hours plus, a long time to do that way through Tokyo and all that. I don't really know, but I know for me it was approximately going all the way from St. Louis, Missouri, all the way over there. It was approximately over about 30 hours with included, layovers and all that, sitting in airports waiting for the plane to be ready or to finally show up. It took it took about 30 hours for me to get from where I was to where I needed to go total. And that was not fun. So I know doing that it was really daunting. I know I met some people, I friended someone and on in Los Angeles airport. Her name was Judy. You can watch that in one of my verse videos. But she helped me get all the way down to Cagayan de Oreo because honestly, I think without her, I would have not figured it out. Because what happened was the moment I got to Manila, I didn't understand. They kept calling all of these different airlines and all these different routes, and you had to go downstairs. And I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know when my flight was because I thought I heard my flight, but Judy informed me that it wasn't my flight yet. And then but they were talking English, but I didn't understand them. And I was trying to understand like what they were mentioning because they were talking so fast in English with their accent, and I couldn't understand what they were saying. but I understood that it wasn't my time yet. So I wound up basically waiting until Judy basically went, and then we went together. And that was kind of helpful because we were going to the same airport. So for a final destination. So, but there's a lot of things I guess we can definitely talk about. Like, are you prepared for your flight? One thing is you need e-travel right now. So e-travel is pretty prepared. You need some vaccination status, but that's also what I'm also going to be talking about. Number 9, I guess, which is your travel requirements that you're going to need to actually show up for that too. And I'll talk a little bit more about e-travel with that said. But you need to worry about your check luggage, your carry-on luggage. You need to worry about, I mean, if you have diet restrictions while you're on that plane. I mean, that being said too, I don't really have any diet restrictions. Bob, do you have any diet restrictions?
No.
Certain things you can't eat? I don't know. I didn't
I
know.
want to interject here while you're talking about that sort of thing. This is a 16-ounce bottle of water, 16.9 fluid ounce, just typical, not very big bottle of water. So you only get like what, 4 ounces of cream, fluids, anything.
Oh yeah,
Something like you would pump or aerosol. And if it's over like the 4-inch rule, whatever the rule is, then they'll tell you got to take it out. Then you got to take it out and find a place in your big luggage, which hopefully you haven't checked in yet, because they won't let you bring it in your small bag, and they surely won't let you put it on your carry-on then if it exceeds like 4 inches. So basically all that stuff, unless you got really small tubes of toothpaste and deodorant, and some people do, you can get travel sizes, but depending on how long you stay, you might need quite a bit. But those are going to have to go. You can carry on if they're like 4 ounces. I think 4 ounces or less.
It's like 4 to 6 ounces or something. I would have to look, but I think it depends on the airline too.
It's not very big.
Yeah, it's not very big.
300 mil rule. That's even worse.
What is it?
Warren says 300 mil. Warren, I don't know how to respond.
300 milliliters.
I forgot now already. Otherwise, I would have typed your response.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
How am I supposed to respond to Warren or anybody else? I thought I was supposed to go to all. Well, that does is choose myself.
Yeah, so you can pick picking yourself picks your individual channel.
Yeah.
Or you can just
respond to Warren and just say anything.
I don't think we can.
Well, I have been. When we were practicing, I did. I'm sure the last time I did. Now I just can't do it. It just doesn't work for me. And I'm sure I'm clicking the wrong thing, and it's no more.
I don't know. I don't think we have that ability.
I've done it so far. There's just click on this, click on that, and send it. Anyway.
I think you're talking about our private chat, like just between me and you.
Okay. I figured it would work the same.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. So we can converse between just me and you on private chat. But other than anyone on our live stream, that's different. I think we just have to answer to them verbally or message them.
Okay, so you're talking about being prepared. There's mental preparation. There's even you can break that down to readiness. Are you ready to go there and look for a relationship with somebody? Are you ready to go deal with the heat? And are you ready to go being so far away from home? Do you know what that's going to feel like? Have you ever experienced before?
Yeah.
Are you ready to thinking you're going without regret to do the right thing? Have you run through all the airline rules and the luggage sizes and where you're going to go on your itinerary?
Talking about
the next flight, because if you've never flown before and you're making all these exchanges and maybe having to get a what do you call it outside, one of those little buses to drive you around, it can be very, very nerve-wracking. If you're like me, you want to know what's going to happen. So I would suggest having a travel agent so you can ask them every little detail. Okay, when do I get here? How long does that take? What am I going to do? And then where do I go next? And then what's going to happen next? And then when's the boarding? And then you got to know all this every flight you go, and how long is it expected to take? And what gate am I going to be at? And I don't know. I like to be prepared with that. Some people probably just wing it. I just don't feel.
I did. I winged it.
I know where I'm going. Have it right here in front of me.
I winged it. That was me. I'll be honest. I winged it all the way through. I booked with Philippine Airlines. That's what I did. And I booked my entire trip all the way from my hometown all the way to where my final destination was. And since I booked through Philippine Airlines, I didn't get, typically you would get an actual code for your American airline code too. So I didn't get that one. And what happened was I had to literally call American Airlines to get that code because they wouldn't give me, because Philippine Airlines didn't know it, but they send me their code. It's a special code. I forgot what it is, but basically it's your code to look up your actual flight, to check that your flight's actually still going to be arriving on time, to make sure your flight's not canceled, to make sure, all of that jazz and everything. And it's also going to tell you what particular plane you have to get on and all that. So, and when I put in my particular code on American Airlines, it wouldn't show up. So I didn't know when my American Airline planes were going to show up. I just kind of had to guess where I was going to go through American Airlines. But the one thing that American Airlines did with me is they canceled my flight from St. Louis all the way to California, Los Angeles Airport. They canceled it, and they rerouted me to Texas. And when I showed up at my airport at Lambert Airport, the lady was just like, well, I don't know, because she was going to print out all my tickets for all of my flights so I can just have them all in hand. Yeah. But I didn't have all of them because apparently they forgot to connect my Dallas flight to my California flight.
Who's they?
American Airlines did. After they canceled my St. Louis flight, they forgot to reconnect me over there. Even though I had a flight over there, they never connected it. So what happened is the lady at the Lambert Airport literally told me, well, I guess you're going to figure out the moment you get in Dallas. So we're going to fly you all the way to Dallas. And then when I got to Dallas and I went downstairs in Dallas and I got on the train, I guess some kind of train through the airport, and went over to where I needed to go. And then I had to go downstairs someplace. And then I finally got over to my gate area, and then I talked to them. They wound up basically calling American Airlines and got everything straightened out for me to fly all the way to LA. So it was good. But that was kind of how it happened, because I didn't know that I knew that they canceled my flight, but I thought they reconnected me, but they didn't. So that was
preparing for flights.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to be prepared for the layovers, which to me is just hard. And you need to be prepared to find places and make sure you ask for help.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you really need to get where you need to go, because you got to take your belt off and your shoes off and anything out of your pockets. And then a little bit later, you'll have to do the same thing, and you're checking your watch. Well, I got to get over there, and I'm not sure what direction that is, and so that's just part of being prepared. And it's natural to have some nervousness just because you've never done it before.
Oh, it was really nervous.
What Paul did, ask for help.
Yeah, I asked for help a lot, actually, along my whole trip, because
good for you.
Well, yeah. One thing for me though was that American Airlines has this thing with iPhones, and I don't have an iPhone. I have a Samsung, but American Airlines has this thing for their apps for their iPhone, so you can literally just go to it, and however iPhone works, I don't know. They have a special app, and automatically their flight schedule just immediately shows up. Whatever gate, it'll even tell them if their gate changed on their iPhone. Me, I downloaded that American Airlines app, nothing. So it would never let me know that my gate changed. I had to watch other people and ask people all the time, and it was because part of it was because instead of me doing it through American Airlines, I did it through Philippine Airlines. And when I did it through Philippine Airlines and they connected all my flights with American Airlines, I never got all that information, and American Airlines never sent it to me, and none of my information worked. So and then my thing got canceled. They never called me that it got canceled. And then when I showed up, nothing ever happened about that. But granted, I showed up on time and everything worked out fine. I mean, by God's grace, did everything work the way it should have worked? You know,
So go ahead and pray for yourself before you go on these
I
flights. I certainly did.
I did, because I mean, I still showed up. I did not miss any gate. I did not miss any time. I did not miss anything. It was fantastic, because I honestly, I know I saw God's provision in that one, because there was no delays at all. If there was any particular delay, me and my wife would have had a bigger problem getting married, because we had to show up on a particular day. We had to arrive at do the PMC seminar on a particular day, because that's like the first Thursday of every month. The we had to wait 10 days to get our marriage license. That was another situation that we had to do. So we had all of that scheduled out, and we even had it set up that we're going to get married on October 22nd. That's what it was of 2022. And if there wasn't going to be any delays, I think even one day off, I would have not got married. It would have been
Really?
difficult. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Caroline Sousa Perez Bomfin,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us tonight.
I had the perfect itinerary and everything happened the right way. So what did you say?
Good days and you get bad days.
Yeah. So
I just like having my agent with me, because I might get a text from her and I might get a text from the airlines.
Mm.
And she may be a little bit ahead of them. I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
or if something changes, she may get it to me before the airline sends me a text. I don't know. But one thing I jotted down here while you were talking, Paul, is be prepared for a change of plans. Just assume that
try to. If you can, but you only have 30 days to. I mean, if you're gonna try to get married, you only have 30 days to do it, unless you can extend it. I mean, you can extend it, but then that's a whole nother requirement. If you're gonna go over there and try to get married within a 30-day period, and a lot of people try to do it within 3 weeks or less, and I don't know how, but you have to have the perfect itinerary and hope nothing bad happens if you're gonna do it in three weeks or less. So I don't agree with that, but I at least say if you're going to go over there and get married, you at least need 1 month. So
at least, because you want to go on a little vacation. I mean, honeymoon, I would think.
Yeah.
May or may not involve traveling to another island, but
Mm-hmm.
it could. But flights can change. There was one flight we had 4 flights, and 3 of them were delayed. And 2 of them we had to stay overnight somewhere. It was that bad, because of the weather. So they just kept saying, "Well, we can't go." And one time in Los Angeles,
the Philippines, that one.
Yeah, I think we were trying to get back. We were trying to get back, I think, and
that was me too. Also trying to get back, but yeah.
Well, we finally did, but we had enough time that they sent us to a 5-star hotel, because they weren't going to leave till we couldn't line up till 4:30 the next morning. This is 10, 11 o'clock at night. They said, "Well, we can put you up in a 5-star hotel if you don't want to sleep here." So we went to the 5-star hotel, took showers, and changed clothes. Then we went right back to the airport on the shuttle, so that we at least were fresh, because we'd had all these delays. So you have these adventures, which, if you're with your wife, is much more enjoyable than when you're alone. Just to share that weird, crazy experience with somebody else, I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to move myself real quick.
Okay. All right. So I know with me that's what it was, and I guess I'll go ahead and answer what Warren has to say while Bob's on there. And so Warren said a couple of things here. He said it was my first international trip, and I booked everything, flights, multiple hotels, etc. It was scary, haha, but it worked out fine. Yeah, Warren. Yeah, you did it. You got through it. It's scary, but we figured it out. And believe me and my son were kind of in the same boat, and that's how it played out. But it was awesome how that played out. Then I'm going to answer your other one here. It said the Delta app didn't work also for you too on your trip, and I was lucky to get my printed boarding passes at the second stop going. Yeah, me too. Actually, mine was. I faced the same situation when I went to Texas. I was finally able to get that when they were able to reconnect my flights. Welcome back, Bob.
Yeah, I'm back. I guess you must have forgot that I told her I was going to be doing a live stream, so
It's okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not life threatening. We can talk. We can talk later, and there's always a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I had nothing but positive experience when I came. When I came back, I was busy showing everybody next to me where I'd been, and telling them how crazy I was to marry somebody that fast. And then when I got back, Paul, when I got back, uh, met my mom at the apartment and talking to her about everything that just happened. And then I took everything out of the suitcases, and then I went over all the videos and photos I took. So
Mhm.
even after that long, probably 26 hours or so coming back, I wasn't the least bit tired when I got back. I don't know if I ever got tired
I
from that
did.
because
Yeah.
as soon as I was back, it was like, okay, now day two of being married here in the States. What am I going
Now
to do
day
next?
2 of
What do I
being
need to do?
married. Finally.
I never, and I was alone for 30 years. You could say I took a risk, but I
Mhm.
never felt that I did the wrong thing to go there or to marry her or to look for another woman in another country. So I don't
How
know,
old were you when you got married?
53.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So maybe that factors into it that I was a lot older than you were.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
But I would have thought you'd just been nothing but thrilled with your experience. So
you. Mm.
there is culture shock, something you got to prepare yourself for. Somebody could come back thinking, wow, that's terrible what that woman I've been dating has to go through.
I know
And
we're
it's
gonna get to that
important to
though.
see it for yourself.
Hold on. Just hold the horses. We gotta go through our next topics. But what I was gonna say about the flights and situations. I don't know. Let's move on. I was gonna mention something else, but I forgot now. But I need to write it down when I need to
Yes.
say.
Well, I'm talking. Just take a second or two to write it
I
down.
know, I know. So uh, uh, mm,
Yeah, Warren, you had a
flight to
great
the
trip. If the
Philippines.
layovers were no more than 2 hours.
Mm. The next topic is do you have enough money for the Philippines? So that's our next topic. That was one big concern for me was am I gonna have enough to supply my son, myself, new future wife for a whole month because she's not gonna pay a whole lot. And that was kind of one thing that I needed to figure out if I was actually going to be able to have enough to do it. I knew the Philippines was going to be a cheaper country. I knew I was going to have to schedule this flight. And that's another thing I can also kind of just quickly mention on was the fact is I was trying to schedule it during when the Russia went to war with Ukraine. There's also a little bit time after COVID. This is 2022, October 2022. So COVID's calmed down, but people have major COVID restrictions. What else? The Philippines was still only allowing vaccinated people, even though here in the US we were allowing unvaccinated people here. But the Philippines wasn't letting anyone in unless you were vaccinated and you also had a booster. So that was a whole nother situation back then. They're now relaxed on that. Now you can be unvaccinated and go. I don't think they I don't think now in the Philippines they're going to quarantine you or anything, but that was a thing that they were kind of doing. If they did find out that you were and you came down and they tested you, that you would be quarantined. At one point, even vaccine people would also be quarantined for a certain amount of time. And I was really glad, and I saw God's provision in that situation too, that God allowed me to still go as long as I had my 2 shots and a booster. I was able to go without being quarantined because I was going to have to also schedule in and try to figure out my itinerary to set myself up for like an extra 6 or 7 days just to be stuck in a hotel room and still pay for that. That was a whole big problem. That was a whole nother thing that you have to deal with at that particular time with money because you also had to buy your own food. Some places would provide your food, but you would schedule that hotel for you. But going there, I mean, you have so much you have to worry about. You have to think about, do I have enough money for this, for travel, to get a car, to get a rental, to get a place to stay? Can I stay with her family? How much is the food there? Um, how much is it going to cost for me to fly there? Because I know when I went during the time when war the when war broke out with Russia and Ukraine, the tickets wound up being like over $6,000,
Mhm,
$3,000 a
mhm,
piece
mhm.
between me and my son. And that was like, I was like, I can't afford this. And I wound up telling my wife, I can't do anything. So I'm gonna have to push this back and hopefully try to get a cheaper flight. And I wound up booking a flight later on in October because I wanted to originally go in July. But I wound up having to take my son out of school so I could actually still go, because originally I wanted to go in July while my son was off during the summer, but I wound up going in October because it was the better time to go. And it wound up being the rainy season. It wasn't too bad, but it did rain a lot, but we had sunshine, and I have plenty of videos of us having sunshine.
Yeah, unless you avoid the rainy season and just go when it works out, you might
Yeah.
end up when it's really, really hot in the summer, you might end up in the rainy season. We've
Yeah.
we've seen it all. We've gone in different times of year every time we went. So I haven't covered all the months, but I think I've basically covered all the sections of it if you divide the calendar into four.
Hmm.
And there are some days it's not that bad,
Yeah.
like August and August and September I thought was really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
You never have boiling hot out there.
I know when I went with my wife and stuff, because I was just like, well, I mean, if it's the rainy season, is it like raining everywhere? She's like, no, it only rains in certain parts. So even
Mhm.
though it's raining, I mean, there's clouds in certain areas. It's not going to rain in every single place. But one thing I noticed even during the rainy season was that no matter what, they just dealt with it. They had ponchos inside of their motorcycles, and they're riding around on a motorcycle and with their ponchos on. I was just like, okay, nothing shut down when it rained.
Yeah,
Here
you're
we
right.
get a lick of rain. Six Flags is closed, Disney's closed, and every amusement park and
Mhm.
everything's closed. If there's any kind of chance of a thunderstorm, shut it down. So
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if they had had 6 inches of snow, it might be different over there. But you're
yeah,
right. We went to the market in Davao one night when it was raining. We took a couple of taxis, and it was raining, and everybody had to have an umbrella.
yeah,
And it was just that way. But you know what? Nobody was there grousing about the weather.
no,
They just take it in stride. This is where I live. This is what happens.
yeah,
It's nothing, absolutely nothing, and you just accept it and deal with it, which I think makes Filipinos really resilient and able to handle changes and adversity, and another good quality in somebody
yeah,
from the Philippines.
yeah. That was one thing that we know, and I guess we could talk about that too. Is the resilience? I'm gonna write that down right now.
Yeah, for a future topic or something.
So,
But
we're gonna talk about like culture and family and stuff too. So, yeah,
but I do think it's important to have money for the Philippines. Because you I don't know how a man would have a relationship with a woman who he didn't go down there to meet her. Yes, some people say, well, I couldn't afford to go to the Philippines, so I brought her over here to do a fiance visa. Boy,
Mhm.
that kind of rubs me the wrong way because he's missing out on the opportunity to see her in her own shoes, you know, where she lives, the weather, the heat, the people, everything. And you learn a lot about her when you see her. And here's where she went to school, and here's her house, and
Well, I
here's where
have
she
a
was born, and
yeah.
stuff like that.
I have a thing. I thought normally with the fiance visa, normally you still have to go over there and meet them for the first
Well,
time.
you have to prove, you're right. You have to prove that
Mm.
you've met, whatever that means.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to meet the first time, whether it's in another country or it's in the Philippines. So yeah, typically with the fiance visa, that's how that works.
Yeah, you're probably right. I
You
mean, I suppose they
have to
could
meet
meet
them.
in,
I think it's within a 2-year window. So you have
like
to.
you could meet them in a different country, and then
Yeah.
still bypass meeting them with their family. And
Hmm.
um, but I've seen guys say that, I can't afford to go there, or I'm not
Hmm.
healthy enough to go there and survive the planes and the traveling. So I just want to bring her over here. And you know, whatever the cost, I think it's worth it to go down there and meet her mother, her father, her siblings. They need to meet you.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all very curious about you, and they won't hesitate to say to her if they don't like
Yeah.
and you need to get on their good side. You need to see how your wife is in more situations than just on the screen, your future wife. And you need to see her in that environment and meet her friends, her family, her sponsors, hear what people say about her, see how she responds under whatever little stress she might be under while you're there. And so it's invaluable to actually go there. And even if you have to delay the trip and somehow come up with more money, I would not. miss out on the opportunity. I just think it's too valuable, in my opinion, to be there where she is.
I understand.
Get a
I
lot of
understand.
respect for her if you
Yeah.
do that thing.
I know that's the way I was, and I was all for her family. I was all for her church members. That was another thing that I needed to be part of. You know, one of the first things when I got there was to meet her pastor and to meet her pastor's son and to meet her church members.
Mhm.
That was, you know, she was like, "Oh yeah, we gotta stop here," and I was like, "Well, I still need a SIM card." So that was another thing.
Well, it's good that that she was introducing you to these
Hmm.
important people in her life. If she's not
Well,
doing that, that's a red flag there. How come it's like you don't want anybody to know I'm here? You know,
yeah, yeah.
that would be kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah, that's a very weird feeling. I would definitely, yeah. Last previous weeks, red flags. So, but that being said, I needed a SIM card, but I was okay with doing that. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say this: the Philippines airports, they don't have Wi-Fi like we have, like free Wi-Fi. So you can't just message somebody like we have. I wound up tapping into somebody's Wi-Fi somewhere in the Manila airport
Oh
to
yeah.
kind of barely message my wife. But if you do plan on getting to the Philippines, you need to make sure that your particular cell phone plan is set up where you can still make international calls, particularly in the Philippines, before you get your SIM card. Otherwise, if you try to reach somebody that's there, it's going to be really difficult because they don't have open Wi-Fi like we have open Wi-Fi. And you might find somebody has a hotspot somewhere that's open, but it was really difficult for me to message my wife because my wife was like, "Are you even here?" And I was just like, "I'm trying to message you, but I don't, I thought maybe I could just get a SIM card and get it right away, but it wasn't just that simple. Judy was letting me know that the SIM cards in the airport, and I just wound up uploading a new video today, to kind of complement this video today, and you can actually go watch that video. That's actually a really good video. It's going to show you 6 different tips and tricks and things to consider before you travel to the Philippines. Not everything would be covered just in this particular topic, but I know there, but I didn't go in depth with it. Like we're going to go more in deep here too. So that's going to be another thing because me and Bob are going to converse back and forth and whatever is going to happen. But I know in that video and partially here is that fact is that the SIM cards in the airports are more expensive there. So when you do travel outside of them, you actually go pick up one in a mall. They're going to be more cheaper. I mean, are you willing to spend more for a SIM card in the airport so you can have cell phone service, or are you willing to wait? So if you can wait, it'll save you some money. It'll be cheaper. This is, you have enough money for the Philippines? So, with that being said, if you had a phone that's already able to make phone calls internationally, you can wait while you get outside to finally have your first cell phone SIM card. And that's a whole nother thing, is because you also need to consider in that other video is you need to unlock phone or to purchase another phone. I think me and Bob mentioned that he
My
had to
wife
buy
bought
another
that
phone.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah, bought you a phone. So
But does every phone, Paul, have a SIM card slot? Because I never heard of it until I went to the Philippines. Probably
so
not even then.
so yes and no, sort of.
Newer phone, like within five years or something.
So the first company in America that had an eSIM, which is an electronic SIM, was Verizon Wireless. So Verizon Wireless would put their, I think so, and I might be mistaken about this, may not be the only one, but I know Verizon had all of their phones locked in where you couldn't just put in a SIM card. So when you actually bought a phone from Verizon, it came with its own electronic SIM, its own link to that particular phone. So other companies were saying, okay, well, we don't want to do what Verizon's doing to lock people into that. So we're going to give you an actual individual little SIM, And I know when I was on Singular Wireless, I had an actual physical SIM. I know when I switched over to AT&T because AT&T bought Singular Wireless, that's the way it was. I know TracFone had it. I know Sprint had it. I know T-Mobile had SIMs because T-Mobile's and AT&T kind of work hand in hand together the same way. So I know that the majority of other carriers here in America usually had actual little tiny SIM cards that, well, they were bigger SIM cards and they eventually made them smaller. And the only company that didn't have an actual physical SIM card was Verizon Wireless. Now, lately, what we're doing is we're trying to get rid of trash because of being more environmentally friendly. Me and Bob can kind of dispute against that a little bit, but about the whole global warming situations, what's going on with there. But lately, right now, they're kind of forcing a lot of our newer cell phones to have eSIMs. That's a bigger issue, especially when you're going to travel, because now you have to, if you don't have two eSIMs, you only have one eSIM in your phone. I think they're giving us two eSIMs. So if you don't have two eSIMs in your phone, if you do still want to use your phone, which is internationally unlocked, if it is internationally unlocked, you have to use one of those for your international phone and one of them for your home phone, your home country phone. So you're kind of hoping that they give you two eSIMs and not just one. Otherwise, you can't put a physical SIM card in here. Now, this is a Samsung S21. I know I know that the new iPhone 14 that came out, and I think probably after that, and probably all the brand new ones, and iPhone likes to start new trends about that. So new iPhone 14 and after will only have eSIMs, which means electronic SIMs. So you cannot put a physical SIM in there anymore. It makes me worried to have an iPhone and still try to go over to the Philippines, because I wouldn't mind possibly getting the new iPhone. I like the new iPhone 15. I'm so glad that they finally switched over to USB-C on iPhones. I was waiting for it because I was like, I'm never going to own an iPhone until they finally switch over to USB-C. And then Europe forced them to go over to USB-C. All of their other electronics, every single one of their MacBooks, their iPads, their phones, sorry, not their phones, but their watches and some other devices and all that are all of them, all but their headphones and their cell phones were on lightning adapters instead of that. And now Europe is forcing them to go to USB-C, and I'm glad, because now we have faster charging now on iPhones. Now we have faster data transfers on iPhones now, because they were really slow. People were complaining about that. Lightning's not really lightning, so that's yeah.
You could also have some Wi-Fi problems like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what your issue was, because that's what happened to me when I went there and I got off the plane. My luggage was lost, so I spent an extra hour there trying to find my luggage before I actually went to look for my wife.
Oh no.
Thing is, though, Wi-Fi was down, so I couldn't even tell her why I was late, and I didn't want her to think I was irresponsible and stood her up. So a nice Filipino guy at the airport, he gave me his phone to find out Isa's
I guess we can just
fiber number.
this one.
And then I called her and said, I'm here. I don't know where I am. I don't know where you are, but this man is letting me use his phone. So what do I do next? And so I went over here and went over there, and then I was outside, and it was like, well, they all look the same to me. I hope I find her. And then she found me. But
That's
be
good.
prepared for poor internet and poor Wi-Fi in that big airport in Manila, because that can happen. And hopefully you can, if you can't talk on the phone, you have some means of Viber, but you got to have Wi-Fi for that.
Yeah.
So I went to a sandwich shop, was the only place I could sit down and connect with her. Once I contacted her on the phone, I still couldn't find her, so I found a sandwich shop, and I had internet. But I had to buy a sandwich to use the Wi-Fi, but it was working, so I was able to talk.
That's good.
Yeah, that was a hassle. But as far as your other question, how much, I would guess if I wasn't going there to get married, but just going there to meet her for a month, take out the $1,700 flight, I could probably done it for $3,500 in
for the
for
month.
30 days. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. 1,800, not counting the airlines.
gotcha.
And
I
you're talking about a lot. I mean, look, that's
Yeah,
still a lot of money over there.
yeah. I
And
had
so
yeah. I
that's
know
my one number.
yeah. I know that I had about $3,800 that I saved up 4 grand. I wanted to tell my wife that I really wanted to save up six. I
Mhm.
didn't want up saving six. I wound up saving four. Plus, my work was still paying me because I wound up taking a leave of absence, and I wound up having over 120 days of vacation saved up. So I wound up just taking that whole leave of absence and getting paid the whole entire time while I was doing the leave of absence. So basically, it was a month long, month long vacation that I had to do, and it was good that I wound up doing it that way. Even though I burnt through all my vacation, it was fine, but I was okay with it because not only was I still had extra money every week while I was there. So every week I wound up basically putting $1,000 in my wife's bank account, and then me pulling out like 800 of it, and then out of that I would also still get paid for my work, so I would still get paid my normal income through that too. So then I was also be able to have a little extra income while I was there and still be able to pay my bills while I was also there, which was really nice.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be $10,000 or anything like that,
Mm,
unless you're in Manila or Makati and
yeah.
spending more USA prices on where you're going. And we weren't in that situation.
Yeah.
So look, it doesn't cost that much. The hotels, you can get a decent one for $15-$20 a day. A
Yeah,
good
you
one. I mean,
yeah,
good.
well, you have to be careful because there's also $200 hotels there. So you have to be careful.
Well,
So
if that's what you
there's
want to
resorts.
spend,
Yeah. Yeah.
next thing you know, that's what 10,000 pesos or something. I mean, it'd be a lot.
I understood, but when I was checking up for hotels there, and I was trying to figure out what's the best places to stay, I would find stuff that was just like Filipino pricing and then American pricing places, different places. It was like these decent resorts that were like $250 a night, and then somewhat of a decent resort that was Filipino pricing, like $50 a night. So, and I was like, okay, this works out a little better for me. Yeah,
I think 50 is a very expensive one.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, it was an expensive one. That one was 55, and that was the one in Davao, and that was the waterfront insular. So we wound up staying there in our honeymoon, and I did get that one with my points, my credit card points. So I didn't have to pay extra for it. Um, when we got there, our room wasn't ready. I think they had a storm, something happened, but they had to shut down that one particular section.
mhm.
They wound up putting us in a different room, and I didn't get the original room that I wanted. Wound up putting us in a different room. I was supposed to get two different beds, but I want to get one bed and like a little side cot thing for my son to sleep on instead of that. But they want to give me free breakfast the whole time we were there. So, and that was really and the way they had their breakfast, I still need to show off that video, but the way they had their breakfast there was immaculate. It was kind of like, I don't know if you ever went to a no, not a Holiday Inn. What's the one hotels? I forgot what they're called. I can't think of them. I don't know, but if you ever went like downstairs,
Hilton?
basically, huh?
Hilton?
I don't know, but basically, it's not a Hilton, but if you ever went downstairs and stuff, and there's like a whole buffet for a breakfast.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
ever you ever had those before?
Yeah, yeah, in
It,
Manila.
yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically like that. So it was really nice to have that.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was all you can eat.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was all
I
you can eat.
certainly went back,
Yeah.
excuse me, a few times for the eggs, and but that was when I went to get my go to the embassy. There was a place right across called it Bayview Inn Hotel or something, and
Mhm,
might have been. I seemed like it was $80 a night, which seems way too expensive. There was nothing really special about the unit itself,
mhm.
but downstairs, yeah, the impressive was the whole place, the downstairs, the hallways, the food. The rooms were pretty average.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I think even ours were. I felt a lot more accommodating, and that's something in my other video. I felt more accommodating in like in an Airbnb. I wound up getting like $35 a night Airbnbs, that full condo, really good Wi-Fi,
Hmm.
personal Wi-Fi. It was PLDT fiber optic Wi-Fi, so which which runs about 400. It's not super fast like here, but it's fast enough. You could upload a video, you can watch and stream stuff. They have smart TVs, so you can multiple people could be on the Wi-Fi. When I was in a hotel, that was kind of the issue. Was it's a shared Wi-Fi, so it's slower,
Mm.
and then the data speeds are already slow because you're in the Philippines, so you're only maybe getting 100 megabits a second or less, and you could barely look through everything even online. And if you have to do anything, upload speeds are just terrible. You cannot really use a hotel Wi-Fi. Even kind of here, you can't barely use it. A restaurant Wi-Fi and a hotel Wi-Fi, airport Wi-Fi is not the greatest.
Right.
It's probably faster than the Philippines ones, but it's it's still not the best.
Mhm.
I want to say that. But having your own personal Wi-Fi, we wound up having like our own personal globe hotspot in some Airbnbs, which was fast enough. It was good enough to watch TV and do stuff and kind of upload like a small video of what's going on to people on Facebook. That was one thing I had. Like I had a lot of people watch me not on my YouTube channel, even though I kept telling people to go watch me on my YouTube channel. But I also had this YouTube Facebook page that we were uploading to, and people, like even my coworkers, were like, "Well, we watched you on your Facebook." Oh, that was what I was going to tell you. I remember now. That's what I needed to write down. But when I got back, I wound up basically like boring everyone about everything I did. Like everybody wanted to know what I did and like how it all worked out. But the moment I started going more deeper into it and what I noticed, people were like, "Okay, I'm done. See you later." They didn't want to like listen very long. That was
Oh.
kind of, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
some people will have formed judgments about the fact that you went and
Mhm.
what your
Oh, people
motives
did have
really are.
judgments
You
about the
know.
fact I went. I had people judge me before I went. They want to basically tell me, "Oh, you're gonna lose your kidney, or you're gonna get captured. You're gonna get your head cut off, and yeah, so you're gonna get food poisoning.
Well, I mean
He's
that
gonna
you
scam
married
you
a
and take all
married
your money, and you're gonna be stuck there." That was a whole nother thing too.
just marrying a Filipina guy. People are going to say, what a loser. You had to leave the country to get married, and I just say, look, after all these years,
Yeah,
I found
yeah,
what I needed.
yeah,
You should
exactly.
call me whatever you want, but I have what I need now, and that's a companion and a life partner, and that's what I missed for so long.
Hmm. So, hold on. Warren's going on here in our messages here. He says, regarding SIM, if you have a newer phone, you can download the eSIM from a provider like Holafly. I got a data only plan that worked mostly well on smart network. Okay. Well, okay. I'm just trying to figure it out because I don't know what the whole new iPhone is shifting over. I know a lot of Filipinos are still on physical SIM cards. And that was just one thing that I'm trying to understand because I'm still used to a physical SIM card. I
Hmm.
just switched my phone over to eSIM, and I'm not even on any normal carrier. I'm on Google Fi now because it's cheap the carriers right now. So, but that's what I'm using. And then he says my unlocked Google Pixel 7 Pro has a physical nano SIM, and I can download as many eSIMs as I want. Okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I know that Google's allowing certain things to happen like this, and I might switch over to Google. I know the Google Pixels are really nice lately, and they're doing better even on some of their capabilities and really competing against iPhone. But I haven't really switched it. I haven't decided if I want to switch away from Samsung yet. So that being said, then you said but after that you said the Manila hotels are pretty awesome breakfast buffet. That's I don't know. I've never been to Manila other than the airport, so completely skipped over the airport in Manila. I didn't. I didn't have to go to Manila. I didn't even have to go to the embassy. I showed up with my. I showed up with my affidavit for legal capacity, and I just skipped right over Manila.
Didn't you have to go there to get that document? Where did you
Nope.
get the document?
No, it was shut down.
Oh, okay. See, when I went, you had to go there, pay $50, and
Hmm.
verify that you're not married.
Yep. Yeah. And you're not even verifying. You're swearing you're not married. You're sworn. That's all you are. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have to prove anything that you're not married? Do you have to show?
If you're single, never married, yes. If you're a widower, you'll have a death certificate. If you're divorced, you'll have a divorce certificate. If you're
So
never
what?
married,
Do you,
you can't
yeah.
prove. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't prove that you can just say you're single and they want to have proof that you're not married, and you have no proof because you're single. So you got to swear under oath that you are single
Yeah.
and pay the fee, and they get the document, and that gets
Yeah.
filed with probably the USCIS.
Uh, Warren asked, "How much is the fee?" It's $50, or it is also the Philippines equivalent of $50. So you can show up there with physical $50, but I think they might only take cash only, right, Bob? Yeah,
For yeah, I mean,
I would
that
bring
would
cash.
be the safest thing to assume is that they're only going to take.
Yeah, just for the safest thing, just to bring
Mm,
cash. It's
let me
better off
find
that
it.
way. I know Bob and me kind of know this, and Bob's kind of mentioned this. You're not allowed to take your electronics in there.
Yes, you got to check out your phone. You leave which kind of feels unsafe, leaving your phone there with a basket of a bunch of other phones. It's
Yeah,
like, this can't possibly be.
yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
else will get my phone. They all look alike. But yeah, they don't for whatever reason. I don't understand it. But I don't
Yeah.
understand why you can't bring water on the plane. But I think it has to do with you could somehow have gotten some explosive chemicals in that bottle of water. And so they make you throw it out or drink it or something
Yeah.
before you get on the plane. I just bought this, and now they're telling me I have to throw it out. Frustrating, TSA.
Uh,
Fiance, you can
you can,
only so far you can go in the
yeah,
Manila in that
you
facility there
can,
at
you can
USCIS.
bring her, but it's the American embassy. So the fact is that she can't go in there because she's not an American. So and she has no reason to really be in there. She can actually kind of go in there, but you have to go up. I think upstairs, right, Bob?
Yes, and I
Yeah,
don't even think they
I
let my
don't.
wife go
I
in the
don't.
building.
So, but
She
as
had to
far as I'm
stand outside.
aware, and from all the videos I've watched about taking them in there, most of the Filipinas, you can take them to up to the embassy with you, but you're pretty much the only one that has to go in.
That's
That's
right.
how. Yeah,
They'll have to wait outside in the rain or
yeah.
whatever the heat or whatever it's like.
So,
That's
yeah,
true. That's
yeah,
true. And I was worried I was going to lose my wife.
yeah.
Oh, where is she now? And it's like, okay, I
And
just
now
got
you don't
there.
even have a phone. So
Yeah, if I get the phone back, I just told her, look, you stay right here, don't move, because
I'll
if
be
I
right
lose
back.
track of you, I'm going to be going this way and you're going to be going that way, and those things can happen, man. That first time there, when you're feeling each other out in the logistics, some things can happen that hopefully you can have a sense of humor about.
Yeah, yeah. But moving on, you mentioned this one earlier, Bob. You mentioned, are you considered a picky eater? I am for seafood. I know when it comes to the Philippines, it's a sea bearing country. It's full of seafood. You can get seafood there for cheap. Um, I did eat some seafood. I was eating some bongo fish. It wasn't as bad, but I get sick eating too much fish. For some reason, I just gag, and it causes some big issues with me, and I don't know why. It's me and my family. My mom has the same problem. My son has the same problem. People assume that I'm possibly allergic to fish. I know that when it comes down to it, it's mostly the smelly fish that I have a problem with, not the white fish. I was kind of looking up why I'm this way because I can eat tuna fine. I can eat cod kind of fine. I mean, because I can eat fish sticks and stuff like that, fried cod or something, but I can't eat a whole lot of like smelly fish, and that's like my biggest issue. It's something about the texture and the taste and the smell of it that really makes me.
Don't you mix it in like eggs or rice or
I'm
something else?
trying. I'm trying, but if there's a smell to it, there's a
God,
smell.
I
Yeah,
don't even, I never noticed it when my
yeah,
family made fish. Of course,
yeah.
maybe because I've been
So if
there
there's a
four
fish
times
smell
and
to
they
it, I
visit.
can barely eat it. It makes me gag. I don't know. But
$50 for that document that Paul mentioned at the
yeah, so yeah,
embassy in Manila.
yeah,
At that time, that was 9 years ago. It may be 100 by
it's
now.
no, it's still $50 today.
Okay.
Yeah, he said thank you, thank you. I've been wondering. Yeah, it's still $50. You look it up, it's still 50. The same. It's just either 50 or the Philippine peso equivalent.
Are
And
you
for
going to talk
anyone,
about? Excuse me,
Mhm.
Paul. Are you going to talk about what to eat in the Philippines?
What to eat in the Philippines.
Are you going
So, did
to
you eat lechon?
particularly bring that up?
Did you eat lechon while you were there?
No, well, yeah, sure, of course you're going to, but that's what I was getting at was your diet in the Philippines. You're a picky eater. I eat about 8 to 10 things, and that's all I ever eat, and have for all my life. But they have, as long as they have fish and eggs and rice and mango,
Mhm.
I would probably just live on that.
Okay, I
And
got
that pig skin, when you take
you. Yeah,
off that hard,
yeah,
oh man,
the
it's just
lechon.
like that's like bacon, man. It's like really good crisp bacon. You mix that in your eggs, and it's
Yeah,
like, wow, okay, this is pretty good stuff.
yeah. I did have some lechon, but I didn't have a whole lot. I'm probably because of my son. We probably lived on more Jollibee than anything.
Oh, sure, sure.
But
Yeah.
I whenever there were some pizza restaurants, I was afraid there wasn't enough pizza restaurants. The pizza varies there,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not like a minor variation of pizza, it's a major
The big
variation of
one.
different. Some of them like will taste like the kind of pizza that you get here, and some of them will taste like some weird odd pizza that you've never had before that you probably never want again. They eat pineapple pizza.
They do here too.
Yeah,
It makes no sense, but
but people give them a lot of guff for eating pineapple pizza here. Because Filipinos are considered islanders. They're considered Spanish people. They're considered
Mhm.
Pacific Islanders, and they're considered a mix between Asians too. So they want to eat Pacific Islander food, and pineapple pizza is their forte. My wife likes pineapple pizza. I know we're gonna get a lot of hate from people probably on this live stream, but that's the way it is. you, you know, you ever
Is
wa-
it-
you ever want pineapple pizza? Go to the Philippines. So
yeah, I couldn't do it.
I
That'd be
don't
tough.
mind.
Oh, pineapple pizza and
I,
the egg, the
yeah,
chicken egg.
yeah.
I can't remember what you call that now.
Oh, the balut. I ate that.
Balut, yeah.
I ate balut. It's
Yeah,
the duck egg.
I think that would have ended my experience in the Philippines. I was forced to do that.
I was not forced.
It's a form of torture.
I wanted to do it, and I did it in Davao, and then I also on top I ate durian and balut in the same day, both. So, and
I think that's against the law. At least once you enter the United States airspace.
oh man, durian and balut together. That was good. So durian, if you don't already know, durian is the world's smelliest fruit. Apparently, even Andrew Zimmerman says that he can't even eat durian. So, you know, but I wound up eating durian, and it wasn't as bad as people were trying to say it was. I had a little small taste of it, but apparently they make ice cream out of it. I know when we went to the Waterfront Insular Hotel, that was our resort when we were there. They weren't allowing durian in there. You
Hmm.
cannot just bring it back in there. The one gentleman that was showing us around through Davao during the late at night, who got me to eat the balut and got me to also try the durian and some other kind of weird fruit. I forgot what they're called. I do have a video of it. But he brought some back to the hotel, and they wound up telling him, no, you got to eat it out there. So yeah, because certain places will not let you carry durian in because how bad it smells.
Hmm.
So that's
Before I forget, one of the things I always say about being prepared for the Philippines is bring toilet paper. Make sure
yeah,
you have it in abundance because they don't always have it when you go to a lobby or a restroom. I don't know because they either don't replace it or they do and people steal it. You almost have to have your own toilet
yeah,
paper.
yeah, that's true.
I have
So
not tried that. War bistak.
I think that's what the one I was trying was meringue. I think that's I think it. I think it was that one I was trying. Have you tried meringue? I don't know. There was a lot of different kinds of fruits out there that I wanted to try. I've never tried star fruit. I know the Philippines has, like here in America, we have a white centered dragon fruit. They have a red centered dragon fruit in the Philippines. There's so many different kinds of fruits and different variations. I wanted to just create a whole fruit vlog just because being in the Philippines, they have a whole bunch of different kinds of things that I've never even experienced before, and I want to try more, and I want to go back for more. So
Good.
that's that to be said.
Your wife will appreciate that you're willing to try their cultures,
Oh,
foods, and
oh, I'm willing to try all of it.
big deal to her. I'm not though,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
So I wound up eating durian, but I also wound up eating balut. I didn't have a problem eating the balut. So I know a lot of people had the problem of it, and I think it tasted more like a boiled egg than anything. Maybe a little feathery of a boiled egg, but so but it was
I
good.
never.
It wasn't too bad. I put some spicy vinegar on it and I downed that thing. So
Yeah, that too much of a challenge for me.
yeah, I'm a daring guy, so it's all good.
I'm not a thrill seeker, or what they call in psychology, open to
Looks like
new
Jack.
experiences.
That's
No,
good.
I'm not really good at that. But you get married, you probably have to try some things you're not used to doing, like going places she wants to see and doing things she wants to do, and
Yeah,
she wants
exactly.
her sees everything in a new country, and she wants to explore and go and
Yeah,
what's there and what's that like and what's the zoo? Is there a good zoo? They don't have good zoos there, not like we have here. And you're just going to have to get out of your comfort zone and say, okay, let's do that for you, for your sake. That's when you're married.
yeah.
That part needs to change for most of us, unless you're already like you are and you like to try different things. I'm not really.
I'm okay with it. I'm
You
trying.
would-
I'm willing to try new things. There, I know there was this one particular time that we were saying my flight got delayed, and I was telling Bob this, but I had to quickly get a hotel before I can get another Airbnb. And we were in the process of trying to get another Airbnb booked, but we had to get a quick hotel. And this wasn't not a good hotel. You actually had to keep so you had a door card, and then not only did you have your door card, but you're hold on, let me switch this over. Picky eater. But you had to put the door card into the wall just to keep your power on
uh,
in this hotel room. And it was a very small room. It had like a glass door for the bathroom, which was kind of weird. And and if you didn't keep your door card in that like that, they would shut off the power completely. It had a TV in there, but it wasn't connected to anything. It was just a super boring place.
mm,
But we went downstairs, and there's supposed to be this restaurant down there, and I would almost argue that it's more of like similar to a vegan or like a Whole Foods or some kind of specialty kind of restaurant. And because they only serve specialty things and there's only alcohol there, it's kind of like a wine bar, kind of also food place. And we went downstairs for breakfast, and I ordered what I thought was a pancake because it said pancake on it, and it was more like a very very soft doughy cookie. Tastes like a cookie with like cream cheese smashed in between it, and it was really terrible. It was kind of like chive cream cheese. If I don't know if
mm.
you ever had that before. Yeah, cream cheese with chives in it. It was like, ugh. I couldn't. I ate some of that, and I had to stop. I was
Well,
gonna.
I credit you for trying.
I tried, so I
That's
so
excellent.
tried. You know, uh, there was this other time that we were in Lapu, and in Mactan, Newtown. We were staying there, and I wanted tacos. I really wanted some tacos, and we wound up going to this one, like it's kind of like a food court, and you'll kind of see a little bit of it in my latest video, just little glimpses of it because I add like small little glimpses of a whole bunch of things that we did. But I wound up I wound up doing that there, and I ordered tacos. My wife ordered she ordered a um bungus fish, and my son ordered something else. I forgot what it was, but I ordered what was tacos. I thought was tacos, so like soft tacos, and it was not tasty at all for soft tacos. It was not the tacos that I'm used to at all. And I ate like one of them, and I tried to eat half of the second one, and there was a third one, and I wound up having to secretly throw it away so my wife wouldn't notice.
Ah,
So, but she did notice. She noticed.
well, food waste, is something they pick
Yeah.
up on. They don't want that, as I found out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cebu Lechon capital. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know. Okay, so they have I don't know, Bob doesn't know this, but they have a Pokemon named Lechon. That's kind of interesting. It's funny.
I did not know.
Yeah. It was funny. But moving on, so we're gonna go on to the next stuff, next topic. So, are you a picky eater? And then, are you ready for some culture shock? That's kind of our next topic. There's a lot of culture shock there. Bob, what did you notice from the culture shock when you first went over there?
The level of lack in so many houses. I mean, if it was a movie, it would be a ghost town. Nobody would be living there. But
Okay.
there's people all over the place, living in almost what looks like tree houses, and small places in the ground. Maybe they don't even have a roof. And you see a lot of that driving around the roads, like right off the road. And you could find it anywhere. You could find it at an expensive mall, those beautiful malls they have. And right outside the mall, it looks like a ghetto area. Um, that was probably the biggest shock that these poor people had to scratch out a living that way. I mean, I really felt for them. That's why I'm sympathetic to my wife and her family anytime we can help. And then the other thing was on top of that, the conditions of poverty was the sweltering heat. Now, if you live in a place that doesn't have air conditioning, it might have a fan, I suppose, probably not a big one. Then just the endurance of surviving every day is a challenge with that heat,
Hmm.
and then staying clean and staying cool and feeding yourself. And there's just a lot of that, which is probably why there's drugs and crime, because people need to get a way to feed themselves,
Hmm.
or it gets desperate. But it was that three things, I suppose. It was that, and it was the heat, and it was people's more or less kind of carefree, relaxed attitude. Twice, twice, I think we lost a tire. No, the car stopped. Well, one was a tire when we need to replace the tire. Another time, they overheated the engine because we were going up, and there were so many people in the car. It just kept overheating, and had to put water in there and the radiator, and nobody ever seemed to complain or even say anything. We had to get out. We couldn't get off that mountain because it was just too high. So everybody had to get out. This is like 2 in the afternoon. Everybody had to just get out of the bus or what a van or whatever we were in. It was ill equipped for the trip, and then walk. And who knows where. We just walked and walked and walked. Nobody complained. Nobody did anything like that. And when we had a flat tire, they went to a neighbor's house because we weren't where we lived, and they gave them a jack, and they got the tire changed, and nobody said a word. Nobody complained. They'd sit in the grass. They'd lean against a tree, or they just stay in the vehicle and laugh and joke. And now here in the West, tempers would flare and you'd get upset. But if you're in the Philippines and you're a Westerner and you lose control, you look really foolish out there
Hmm.
in the Philippines,
Yeah.
because they don't. No, it can happen. I suppose if guys had too much to drink,
They
but
do.
generally they're pretty calm about not wanting to make a scene. My wife certainly is. Many times she's had to pull me away, because I was getting hot at somebody, and she'd just get me by the arm and pull me away. So they don't like that kind of confrontation.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will notice. Especially, I'll start with that last part. Basically, I do think that they do complain, but they don't want to complain around Americans. That's the first thing, and then on top of being said, because they really are reserved. A lot of Filipinos don't want to express things openly with us, whereas we here in America, we just blow up. And
Mhm.
this is just outrageous. How can this happen? And then Filipinos are like, like, "Well, how can you do that?" Hmm,
Yeah, with
But
the
yeah, they were. I have seen my wife complain, but she's reserved about it. She winds up trying to hold it back as much as she can. And a lot of people, generally in the Philippines, even when facing hard trials, they tend to stay calm regard that situation. And it's just something they do
admirable.
because they kind of judge each other. A lot of Filipinos judge each other, so they kind of force themselves to be reserved any which way. That's one thing I noticed. But that being said, I noticed around, especially around other buildings. I haven't really noticed about in Manila, but when I went down to Cagayan and everything, Cagayan de Oreo and stuff, there just whole bunch of shacks, whole bunch of
Mhm.
different places with tin roofs and things like that, windows completely open, even storefronts that way, people doing that that way, and it was just kind of common there. You walk into place to place. When I was even in Mactan, Newtown, you would have these really nice high rise condos in the beautiful area where people would like stay at. But
Right.
you would go a few blocks further, it's just all poverty. It's
Mhm.
completely all poverty. It's storefront poverty, regular poverty, and that's the way it is. And but that's where you shop at. That's where you go.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
and that's where you go to get out of the heat.
yeah,
Get
yeah.
the air conditioning in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, that's why I said, "Let's go to the mall. It's so hot. Let's see what's going on.
Go to a
Let's hit
mall or a
Walmart."
Jollibee or something because that's the only few places that have air
Yeah.
conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're gonna go to any place over there if it's not a big consumer place and stuff like that, a general big place, they're not gonna have a whole lot of air conditioning. Most grocery stores, most market areas, most places that you go, anywhere you go, even if you go to the hair salon, it won't have a lot of air conditioning.
No,
They
no.
don't they don't run it. So, that was one thing that I noticed even when I
Maybe
went
be
there.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
These shacks that you mentioned, Paul, I would be real vigilant in trying to date somebody that was that poor,
Mhm.
because she has a lot of incentive to just marry anybody.
Yeah,
They have a
yeah.
better life. And so if they're more of a what do you call middle class, where they've most of the family's gone to college, and some of them are working at Jollibee, and some of them are working in that mall, and some of them have this job.
Mhm.
They all have a job. Well, that's a better situation to marry into than someone that's really on survival level. And a guy would be an attractive partner. Now, personally, I wouldn't mind if she was dirt poor. That was
Mhm.
never a concern, and I never had to deal with somebody living in poverty like that, because they had a more middle class
Yeah,
life, because people were working, and so that's probably a good sign, rather than somebody that's like, wow, it looks like it's obvious why they're interested in this guy. Look where she lives.
yeah,
Everybody wants a better life. Everybody wants to upgrade.
yeah, yeah,
Everybody
that's
wants to get out of there. So maybe that's why she's with this guy, and he just needs to be sure he's not getting used.
I agree, I agree, I agree. Yeah, but that was one thing that I even known is, how resilient they are, even facing the weather situations and stuff like that.
Oh
I
yeah,
know,
of course.
I know when I was living with my wife's family and stuff like that, I couldn't take the heat even at night, and they didn't have fans and everything like that. They they were blowing, like I couldn't sleep because I was just sweating. They were used to it, but I was just sweating, and me and my son, we had this like a spinning fan, like a spinning air conditioning fan thing. You ever seen those things on? Yeah,
Oscillating.
yeah, yeah. The oscillating things like that. They had one of those, and it wasn't the greatest, but
Right.
I had that thing blowing on me 24/7 because
Oh, of course. I did too.
I couldn't I could not deal with it. So it
But my
was
wife's family made sure I had the best fan in the house.
yeah,
And I'd
that
go
was
in my wife's
why
bedroom, and they'd put it
yeah,
in there for me. And if I
yeah,
got up and went into the living room and sat
mhm,
down
mhm.
to see what's going on, somebody would go get that fan and put it right there next to me.
Oh man,
So I wouldn't, because they knew it was uncomfortable for me. But you know what? After time goes by, I think I've even gotten used to that on these 5 times I've been there.
yeah,
I just haven't been complaining about it. You can buy some cold, wet thing to go around your neck that always stays cold, or you can get a cold towel
Mhm.
and keep your neck, or you can put something on your head. Or I mean, there's things to do if you're going to be out there, and even if you're going to be inside. But the good thing is at 5:30 in the Philippines, I always thought the sun went down and the temperature dropped dramatically.
It did.
And
Yeah.
if you're out there and you're a little sweaty and you're getting on somebody's scooter and you're moving around, it just makes you cool because you already got some sweat and it's getting cooler and you're moving fast like that. And then it's like, wow, this is great. It's just too bad it has to be
Feels
dark.
nice now.
Too bad, yeah, it has to be dark to be able to feel like you're in America.
It gets
Like
dark there early all year long though.
5:30. Same thing
5:30.
here in Nebraska in winter.
Yeah.
5:30 it's dark, except in the Philippines,
Well,
it's
yeah.
year round.
Yeah, it's year round. But you would think that since they're closer to the equator, they would get more light. Nope.
I sure don't know how that works
I
out.
don't know how it works either. For some reason, they just don't. It gets darker early, but from what I've researched, it gets brighter earlier too.
Well,
That's the difference. So
we had a comment here about you don't have neighbors, you don't see anybody in the United States. That could be a problem for people in the
yeah,
Philippines because you're going to have people everywhere. There's going to be children coming into your family's house uninvited, maybe with no clothes on, and they just run
yeah,
around. And they're going to have very small streets and thin alleys, and there's always going to be people around. There's always going to be music. There's going to be noise. There's going to be honking horns.
karaoke.
The noise and the karaoke and the
You said
massive amount
music.
of
I was like
people.
karaoke.
If you're not used to that, that could really be upsetting. If you're not used to that, I wasn't used to it either.
Yeah,
Um, but I just focused on the fact I was there to meet my wife, get married, enjoy what I can, because I told them I'm never coming back because my back was it's hurting so bad. I told her mom, no, I'm sorry, I'm never coming back, and it's because of my
but you
back
did
and
come
the long
back.
trip. I did. We came back like 7 or 8 months later. My wife wanted to come back, and when she got here in January, and in July we went back to the Philippines, and she was still very homesick. It took
Yeah,
a couple years at least for
yeah.
her to get over the homesickness.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, culture shock, picky eater. Are you ready for her family? That's number 6. Hmm. That was that was a big one for me. I know when facing her family. So, th- you know, a lot of a lot of Filipinos, they stay together. They have this patriarchal kind of a family structure, whereas a lot of us here, we kind of just separate ourselves. I know a lot of people, especially even online, they were like, I can't deal with Filipinos because of because they're antisocial. American people, they're antisocial. I can't marry a woman like that because how can I face and deal with that kind of family? You, like you just said, Bob, they're going to come into your house. They're going to show up unless you lock your front door, unless you put a fence
Mhm.
around your house and literally say no trespassing. They're going to squat on your property and they're going to show up while you're eating. They're going to show up while you're messing around. But
Mhm.
so they like company, you know. That was one thing that I even noticed. Like right after I got married and stuff, my wife was like trying to show me off to extended other people of the family. Like, here, come meet my other cousin. Go meet these other people down
Sure,
there. And
sure.
these people are only a few houses down from me that I
Oh,
haven't even met yet. Huh?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. It's good
Yeah.
that she does that, and it's good that you go and meet them.
Yeah, because I'm an extrovert, so I'm okay with meeting everybody. I'm like,
Um,
okay, let's just go. So
yeah, I'm more regimented, and it's like, oh boy, do I have to? And
yeah.
because in my case, my wife's family doesn't speak English, so it's
Hmm.
like, well, one is trying to,
Yeah.
but it's so hard to learn English, unless you're like 5 years old or something. But
Yeah.
and so I talk with him mostly, but they're too they could probably do it, but they're shy because they know it might not come out right, and I'm think they're silly or something,
Yeah.
and so they just smile and don't really talk to me, and so
They
but I
nod and
still at
smile.
least want to be there and sit in the living room with them and just be there, even if I'm on my phone. So I'm just with them.
Mm.
But you don't want to ignore them and say, I'm going to spend all my time in this hotel because it's so hot, I'm going to die or something. Spend some time in that hotel, but make sure you spend some time over there because you only have one chance to make a first impression.
Yeah. And
That's a big one with the family, how
that's a
you
very big one with
react
the
to their
family.
family.
Yeah. And their family was like my wife's family was very, very helpful. No matter what happened, even her sister, like after we sent off our wedding invitations, they wound up making my son my best man.
Oh,
And
yeah?
they wound up making her brother, her oldest brother, the maid of honor on her wedding invitation.
There
And
gotta be somebody better than him for a maid of honor.
I know. um, no,
I'm sure she's got
maid of
talent.
honor. No, her brother, the maid of honor.
Right, but maid of honor should be a woman, right?
I know,
Okay.
I know. But her sister wound up correcting that situation and
Okay,
yeah,
good.
fixing it for us. Even though we sent it someone else off and we actually paid to have them do it and stuff, they did it incorrectly.
Mm.
And and I was just like, well, they need to fix this. And I was kind of being a little bolstering about the fact that, I paid for this. They need to fix it like that. My wife was kind of letting me know that I need to pay them again to fix it. I was like, I'm not going to pay you to fix this. It needs to be fixed the first time, you know?
I know.
And yeah. And Crystal, her sister, wound up fixing it for us and doing it. And it turned out pretty well. So, and I did thank her for doing that. It was nice,
Mhm.
but her family was very kind and helpful for doing that kinds of situations for us. And I don't know some of the craziest things that her family did. One of her sisters sewed up my underwear. I told you about that situation, but I'm gonna open up and
Yeah,
let
you're
everyone
gonna
else know.
stop farting so much there.
sewed up my sewed up my holy underwear, and I came back and they
I draw the
did my
line there.
laundry and
You
she
just
sewed up
take
my
the
underwear.
underwear and you just throw it somewhere outside.
I don't know. It was a situation that I couldn't understand, but they were really helpful. They were letting me take showers, even though they didn't have any real good running water where I was currently at. And
Oh, there's
they
another
were
good
so
one.
nice. They had me this big spread when I first showed up. They were even like, welcome Paul and Colton. They made me feel like family. That was kind of a really big deal. And I spent a significant amount of time with them, but I also spent enough time with my wife too. So
And you felt that the family's actions were genuine and they weren't just
they,
acting.
they were genuine. One thing that I did notice was that her family, especially the boys, were leery to talk to me because most of them couldn't speak English. So
Sure.
yeah, and when I went inside and tried to eat at the table, and I was like, "Where's all the boys?" And all the women and the kids were at the table, but the boys were not inside.
Mm.
I was like, "Where are they at?" And my wife was just like, "They're outside because they're scared to talk to you." And I was just like, "Okay, give me my plate, and I'm gonna go out there and talk to them."
Okay. Well,
So
there you go. See, I
yeah,
wouldn't have thought of that.
yeah, that's what I did. I went out there and talked to them, and regardless, they couldn't talk to me. I tried to converse with them, and they tried to converse with me. So yeah, I just made it happen.
Well, the children and like nieces and nephews, when they first saw me,
Yeah,
they were like they had seen a ghost, and they would cry and turn their head away. And I
I
said,
had one
"Honey,
that did that
what
too.
is going on with these children?"
Mhm.
And she said, "It's because of your beard. Is
Yeah,
they I don't know, that freaks them out because
yeah.
you don't see that in the Philippines." She said that's why they're
A lot
crying. And
of yeah,
it
they
took
don't
the
grow out a
whole first
beard. Yeah,
time there, and I'm still not sure if they were comfortable with me. If they could get one of them to come and sit next to me
uh-huh.
after 2 times there, that was a big accomplishment because they were so afraid of me because
I
I'm
got
huge. I'm
mm,
6'2". I'm a lot bigger than the people there, and we got a lot of hair and a beard, and they're afraid of me. But after a while that wore off, but
I yeah.
it was a problem for a while.
Mm. I have one that was afraid of me, and that was Jam, but she was only like a year old or so. All the other ones were okay with me. They were a little shy toward me. They were kind of older, so they were kind of generally okay. But since I'm very extroverted and I'm kind of friendly to play with kids too, and they were like, well, hold on, just hold on, and then some of them they would get used to me, and then like while I was there, they wound up fist bumping me. They wound up doing the whole blessing and
Hmm.
stuff that situation. It was nice. So
Yeah,
I
I
want
get confused and I start doing it to them, and it's like, wait a minute, they're not supposed to do that.
to.
It's supposed to be the other way around. It's like, why
Yeah,
would you? I wasn't prepared for this,
yeah.
And am I
For
supposed to
anyone,
do that too?
yeah, for anyone who's watching this currently or even afterward, uh, so blessing is also called mono, and not like the disease or anything, but it's you thank the elder by grabbing their hand and putting it to your forehead to show a sign of respect. It's kind of our version of like shaking somebody firmly who's older than you. But
Yeah,
that's kind of their version of saying you're older than me. I'm going to give you that respect as my elder, as my, yeah. And that's basically what we do. And any children would normally grab your hand and put it their head. And if someone is older than you, like I would do it to Bob because Bob's older than me, and to show
that's
respect.
confusing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just didn't want to do it wrong and mess it up or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. And I wound up doing it wrong. I did do it wrong. So
Yeah, but her family, don't be thinking they're all after your money or something like that. If it's a good relationship, I don't think they're even going to want to make a hint that
yeah.
they're out there, to size you up for money. I
Yeah.
think if it's a good relationship, they're all saying, look, this is my boyfriend. I don't want you to embarrass me. And we're going to respect my daughter, and we're not going to embarrass her by, looking like we're just after his money or something. And, there'll be a time and a place for that after you're married. It's going to happen,
Yeah.
but you certainly wouldn't expect to see that on your initial trip there, or if you're before you're going to get married, because the good ones aren't going to be taking advantage of you that way.
Yeah.
They don't even want you to think that they might be doing that,
Yeah.
so they're
My
going to work.
my wife's family didn't ask me for any money, other than the fact of like helping them out doing my laundry. Other than that, my wife was just like, oh, you got to pay them for doing that. I was like, okay, well, that's fine, because they did my laundry. I
Is
was like,
that right? Okay.
yeah.
See, my wife didn't never
Yeah.
told me to do that, and they washed our clothes all the time
Mm.
in the well
Well,
or water.
it was the sister that also sewed up my clothes
Right.
too. So
Well, my wife probably paid them with stocking up all the food in the pantries and
yeah.
bread and
Other
stuff.
than that, no, they didn't ask me for anything. Anything I was even offering to pay. Like we were trying to all go to this pool, which was also kind of like a beach also area, and we were trying to do that together. And I offered it up, but they wound up getting all their money together to do it on their own without me.
Okay,
Yeah,
a
it was.
very good sign.
Yeah, there was. They didn't really ask me for anything. That was just kind of what it was. Whenever we got together for the whole wedding situation, I mean, I paid for everything I could, but everything that they did for all their dresses and got everything together for them and the kids and all that, they did it on their own.
Weddings are a big
Yeah,
deal over
yeah, yeah. So they really contributed to help out, and it was a really good blessing on top of that. So I didn't have to do too much extra work. They made sure everything was all coordinated. They even had the two vans that pulled up and packed everyone in there that apparently was already paid for, I think, by me, but
there.
prior to all that, but they made sure all that was coordinated together and got all that where we for everything, even the hotels and everything booked. So
Just for people joining in, if you didn't know, Paul's wife will hopefully be here
this year,
later this year, correct?
hopefully this year.
You got married in
I know.
22.
Yeah. I know I got married October 22nd of 2022, which is kind of a hard way to say 2022, 2022. So
Mm,
so but it does say on our USCIS website that we have 1 week left for that process. 1 week estimated. Doesn't yeah. It says generally. That's just an estimate on that. And hopefully we will go forward to the next stage, which is NVC, and see what happens in the process regarding that. I'm waiting for that approval to finally get switched over to NVC. So the way it happens, it goes to USCIS first. It's a 3-stage system. So you goes to USCIS, then NVC, then to the embassy, and then you can get your wife here. And that's kind of how it works.
And
It's
my wife's been here since 2016, so I have a
yeah.
a big head start on what might happen for Paul, and I want to
Yeah.
prepare him or anybody else so they can find out that their experiences are not unique to
No.
them and
No.
understand it's a big, big adjustment there. She might say she loves you and all that, but boy, she's never spent time away from her family like she's going to.
Yeah.
And
It's,
she's
yeah.
going to have to get used to that
I
somehow.
I was even just thinking about it because, just understanding that the fact that she has to speak English constantly
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Not even the fact just sometimes speaking English. She has to speak English constantly now. Moving here.
Yeah. And people will speak faster than she wants them to speak.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
probably, and just Paul, just tell your wife it's okay to ask them to slow down, please. Otherwise, they don't know.
Yeah.
We don't realize how fast we talk
Yeah.
when we're to somebody that's trying to pick up the nuances of the language. So just like my wife, hon, don't be shy. Ask them to repeat. Please repeat. I don't understand.
Ask them to
Okay.
repeat,
Most
slow
people
down.
will
But
slow
they're
down and help you.
but don't slow down, especially don't slow down to act like you're a baby to them. Do you understand? Don't do that. Don't do that because that's not
Yeah.
what they want. They want you just to talk normal, simple, normal, slow speak.
Good afternoon.
What?
You know? Good afternoon.
No, it's not ah. It's not ah. It's ah. In the
Here with this
Philippines,
Scots part of the end is afternoon.
in
And
in
so
the
yeah, that's
Philippines, it's
true.
after ah.
Talk
Remember
slow enough
this.
for her to understand you, but don't make her feel like she's in school
Remember this in the
still that
Philippines too.
learning English.
They don't use a or ah. They use they use ah. They'll say bonk, bar.
Oh yeah. What did my wife do? She always has one word that I always get confused. It's because of the way she pronounces it. I can't remember what it is.
Okay.
I always have to think of the alternative in case that's what she's really
Every
saying.
a word is ah. So you have to understand that.
Well, she does ask me for pronunciations. I've told her if you
Okay.
have trouble with a word, ask me
Yeah.
anytime, anywhere in the middle of the night. Ask me how to pronounce this word. And she seems to because she wants to sound like she's lived here. She wants
Mhm.
to learn English and do it properly. She's even
Yeah.
learning Spanish right now.
Mm,
She's training her mind because this
they're the
girl
human.
who
Yeah.
likes Spanish, speaks Spanish. And so she's training her mind now to respond in Spanish, not to think first in English and then move that in her mind to Spanish, but she's trying to hear the Spanish words and then right away respond in Spanish. And I think that will help make her more valuable in the job market. And because you're always going to work with people who speak Spanish. And, if you can speak that language or the Philippines too, you make more people feel comfortable and you can communicate better. So, I'm glad she's learning that, but she's also a lot younger than I am. And I wouldn't be able to learn. They would lock me up for being intoxicated if I tried to talk about something in Filipino. I would just throw out Filipino words that don't make any sense.
Random Filipino words like
Yeah,
salamat, salamat,
yeah, yeah.
salamat po.
Where's the balloon? Good morning. You
So,
know, Where's the bathroom? I'm hungry.
yeah. I know
Something
when I
like
was in the Philippines that I wound up instead of saying salamat because in Bisaya that's thank you, by the way.
sure. First
So
word I learned probably.
yeah, but I was saying it wrong. I would say salamat. Salamat, salad, like salad.
Ah,
So and people would not respond to me in the
yes,
Philippines.
yes,
Y-
yeah, because they don't
Most
know what
of
you
the
said.
Filipino dialects, so they separate things and a la ba da da. So the words is like segregated in like 2 or 3 syllables, all of it. Salamat. Salamat. That's how it works. Or my own buntag. That's how it is. Good morning. My own buntag. It's you can't say it all together. You have to say it in the syllables.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes for them, they just skip all that and they just glide right through the words because
Well,
they
they
know
do it easier. They do
they
it
just
easier
part of
than
it
us,
right.
but
They know
it's
what
still
they're
the
saying.
syllables how they do it.
Yeah,
They're
I
able to
try.
glide through it, but they are able to pronounce it better. But if you're trying to learn how to say it, you have to say it in the syllable.
That's what I would do.
Mhm.
Magandang umaga. Magandang umaga. And then,
Exactly. What is
yeah.
that one? What is that word?
Well, that's good morning. And
Oh,
magandang tanghali is good afternoon. Magandang gabi
oh,
is
gabi. Yeah, gabi.
magandang gabi.
Yeah.
I like that. Magandang gabi. Good
Gabi.
evening. So you
Yeah.
start next live stream with magandang gabi. This is Paul.
Nice.
I always say buhay. That means basically welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah. Mabuhay.
I like the name Mabuhay. It just feels relaxing to travel somewhere
Mabuhay.
and see Mabuhay. I don't know what it is. It's
Well,
just
it's
makes me feel relaxed.
Mabuhay is like almost like the Hawaiian word, also
It
like
sounds like it.
aloha.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
so it's very similar to that kind of word. Yeah.
Yeah, it does
Yeah.
sound like
Mabuhay. Aloha. So yeah. I can see it's very similar to that. And it kind of feels that way. Feels really relaxing to
it.
do
Yeah.
that.
Main thing I'd say is make a good impression to her family. Try to memorize their names, write them down, look at the list,
Yep.
picture in your mind who that is, anything you can
Exactly.
learn about them, and ask your wife if you have to now. What is the younger sister's name again? Just go ahead, ask your wife, even if you have to keep asking and asking. But learning their names is one way of showing respect to that family member. So try to get used to names. At least one thing they'll recognize is their name. Just say their name, nod, and then that's some way of communicating with them if they don't know any other English. At least you can know her name.
Yeah. I understand. Sorry, I'm changing my battery. All right. Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm going live again. Hold on. Where are we? Okay, there I am.
Yeah.
Okay. I did get a dummy. I did get a dummy battery, but I haven't pulled it out yet. So I finally got my dummy battery.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do we have to be ready for?
All right. Are
Go
you ready?
thousands of
Are
miles away.
you ready for some jet lag? So that's we already kind of spoke a little bit about jet lag, but are you ready?
Which do you think is worse, the jet lag when you get there or the jet lag when you get back?
For me, it was back because I didn't get a single bit of jet lag when I was there. So that was kind of one thing that I faced. I was completely awake when I got there. It was no big deal. I don't know. I think because mostly I slept on the airplane getting there. I wouldn't say well, but I slept, and I was excited to be there.
Mhm.
But I know when I got back, and I told you about the anxiety that I faced coming back, on top of being, I think, also not really being asleep and missing my wife, and then also feeling relieved that I'm kind of out of a poor country,
All right. That's what I just
facing
don't understand.
facing a lot of cultural issues that I faced, and kind of sighing relief that trying to get used to being back in my car, or trying to get used to being back into normal driving mode here in America. The normal McDonald's, not picking up the kind of food that they have there, but getting back into that situation. It kind of pulled me into like a whole different kind of way where I was just like, I don't know what to do.
All right.
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, here's the grocery store my wife and I are going to go to. We'll probably get our gas here.
Yeah.
Here's this thing, and we're going to have to go over there. And there's a DMV, and it's like I just thought, okay, here's where I am, and it's a nice place to live, a nice safe place to live, nice safe neighborhood. So I'm going to show her all these things. And so I guess I didn't dwell on where I was very long because she was going to come here as soon as the visa process went its course.
Mm.
And so my
I
mind
mean, I
right
went
away
through.
was helping her get
Yeah.
used to where she's going to be. And
Yeah.
hopefully at that time was like 7 or 8 or 9 months, is what
Mm,
people were saying.
I see. I know. I know it's longer for me now.
It was longer now because of COVID and other things,
Whole
probably.
lot of things. Just it's just gotten longer.
Well, COVID and illegal immigration.
Yeah, I think it's the immigrational issues and COVID, but I think it's also because that they're not able to handle the workload like they used to. I think more people are doing it now than it's ever been.
Doing what?
Doing what we're doing now, what I've done, what you've done. More people probably more often have done it. More people are also coming to America now too. So I think it's just I think the amount of workload has increased. You don't think so?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
yes, I mean, well,
So
it has,
so
but you don't know what category they're putting these people in.
so yeah,
Because
I
they're
know.
just showing up at the border.
I,
Maybe that shouldn't take any time at all.
but it's not just a border situation. I don't think it's just that border situation. I think it's okay. I stumbled across an old video
They're already here.
that says that our paperwork would either go to the Phoenix box or the other box or something like whenever we file for it. But now there's multiple USCIS centers now. I think there's like 8 of them now, right? 6 or 8 of them now.
There's one in Omaha. We go.
Yeah. So we know that they've expanded on that now, and we know that out of their expanse, they're still feeling overloaded with that situation, I think. So I think moving to a digital era now, not just paperwork now, and looking through all of those digital paperwork and how many more people, not just in the Philippines, but all over the world are trying to come to America, and how available it is for them to come here, regardless whether you're trying to cross a border or whether or not you're trying to cross the country coming on a plane or a boat or something. I think it's gotten more expansive now. And I think what we need now is we need people to find a different alternate system here. Honestly, I mean, with the advancements of AI, I'm surprised nobody's doing it.
Like what?
Create an create an AI to start approving or not approving people.
Oh, I don't know. It just seems to me that you got to have a person there that's trained to look at body language
I
and
understand. I understand.
responses and shuffling, and if they're
Yeah,
communicating somehow
I
with
know,
their
but I
bodies,
mean,
their
just for
eyes.
pushing, yeah, but I mean, just for
I wouldn't.
pushing paperwork forward, though.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe, but this documentation is important. If you make a little mistake on your documentation, it's coming back, and they
hmm
probably won't tell you why. You just
hmm
have to figure it out. That
yeah,
happened to us, but my agent told us what it was likely to be. It wasn't because we did anything wrong. It was just we needed an official seal from Manila. And
hmm
so he said, I doubt they're going to take yours because in Nebraska they don't. And they didn't, and we had to send it back. But we knew that's what it was. But the paperwork is very, very important.
yeah,
They get filled out
yeah,
um, properly,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's a good thing.
I know, but it really slows everything down. I'm just saying it slows things down because of how many people have to actually physically look at this thing.
Well, and Paul, they got
Yeah,
behind during COVID. They just closed the office doors, and nobody did anything.
yeah,
They didn't do it from home. All those documents were left in a sealed, locked office, and however long they didn't go into work at the
yeah,
USCIS, those documents just sat there. The
yeah,
rest of them, I don't know where they went. They had to pile up somewhere.
yeah.
Much easier to get lost if that happened. Just a bad situation. It's not like they kept working during COVID from home. Nobody was in those offices. So
Wow,
that paperwork, everybody's
just
petition was
keep
just
piling up.
piling up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's going to take us 11 years, they say, to get my wife's couple of siblings over here. 11 years. And that was filling out all the paperwork, all the requirements,
What
all the
was it originally before the 11
11
years?
years. Well, that's just typically what it takes to get a sibling over here from the Philippines
Yeah,
to America.
I know it was like 10 years
Years
or
or
so.
less, 1 to 2 years. Siblings, 10 years to whatever they tell you.
Wow. Yeah, just to sponsor them to this country.
Well,
Yeah,
I was seeing
yeah,
somewhere online, I don't know if it was California, but somebody was saying they were told by an attorney that it takes like 20 years to get the sibling here. Because we're kind of think how old they would be when they got here. And then finally the government told us it was going to be, they did it in months. It was like 132 months or something.
oh, okay, I gotcha.
Worked out to 11 years. And our whole life, their whole life could change dramatically by then. And maybe they don't even
They don't even want to come then at
make
that
it
point.
here or want to come here.
Yeah,
But the jet lag, um,
yeah,
Well, I mean, if you're in Australia, it's a short trip to the Philippines, I'll bet. It's
Singapore, Australia, yeah, or
not the
Japan
adventure
and
we
stuff.
have
Yeah,
coming from the United States in the middle
hmm
of the country. Um, but
but yeah,
you have no choice, and that's the furthest you're ever going to go in your life, and you never have. Your body has never been through it. Most people are probably affected. Just try to sleep it off.
yeah,
Just try to sleep it off and just say, look, I'm sorry. Don't plan anything big with me. Tell your fiance, wherever you're going, don't plan anything big the first couple days because I'm assuming the jet lag is going to be severe. And I
mm,
don't want to let you down and anybody down and get frustrated because I'm so tired and you're making me go here and there and meet these people and I'm not in a good mood.
yeah.
It's wise, I think, to take a couple of days and just
Try to
settle
relax.
down and don't do a whole lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're going to be excited and you're going to be thinking you're going to hit the ground running, but eventually you're going to
yeah.
the jet lag will hit you.
I wound up telling my wife that I wanted one day off, wanted one day to do it, but I didn't really need it. I didn't feel like I needed it, but
When you're younger, a lot
yeah,
younger than
that
I
was
am,
true. I was a little
you
younger
rest.
for sure. Yeah. Moving forward, are you ready for the heat? And we kind of covered this a little bit, but I mean, we can
A
definitely
lot
go.
of water drinking. Drink a lot of water. Do
Yeah,
not
that
make
was,
even if you're not a water drinker now, you have to become a water drinker in the
mhm,
Philippines. The heat and humidity,
yeah,
you have to.
yeah.
Only the locals don't seem to drink water, but I mean, they don't. They don't seem to be too obsessed with water. Well, I'm always there. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
that,
Fun. Let's not
that was
forget
kind
that
of me
five
too.
gallon drink there
Yeah.
before we go to bed. How about another 12 pack? Because got to keep that water. And that's the way I was drinking water, but my wife wasn't, and nobody else there was drinking water that much because they're used to it somehow. But a
Yeah.
Westerner, you better be consuming tons of water and
Yeah.
just good for you.
I went during the rain season. I don't know. My wife's mentioned how hot it can get during the dry season. I have not mentioned what's like for the dry season. So I don't know exactly the feeling for it, but I know it was hot enough and humid enough, especially near like Cagayan. Like the closer you got to any kind of shoreline, it was hotter. It was typically because the humidity was pretty brutal. So, but
My wife
with
thinks it's hotter here than in the Philippines. She says
okay,
they're not even close, the heat here in Nebraska.
really,
Usually we might have 5 or 6, 7 days a year that are 100 degrees or more. And it's usually all kind of close together.
hmm
And then nobody goes outside because it's too hot. But
yeah,
even when it's 90, 95, something like that, she just says it's unbearable to her. When there's no wind,
yeah.
she just said this is worse in the Philippines. I don't know if it's because we have
Mm.
less wind some days, but she said definitely Nebraska heat is worse than the Philippines. I would have begged to differ, having
Mm.
lived here all my life, but she lived somewhere else all her life.
Well, it depends on the humidity. So I think she's probably so I met a gentleman that was from California, and I think I mentioned this to you before too. There was this one gentleman, so they have a dry heat in California, like literally no heat at all. Sorry, I mean no
Humidity.
humidity at all. And this one gentleman, he came from California. He worked with me, and here in Missouri and probably Nebraska too, is we wound up having like a heat index. So it's like 90 degrees with a heat index, and the heat index is like feeling like 100 degrees. And it does get hotter here than the Philippines. I would say that the humidity got me when I was in Cagayan, but in the mountain regions, it wasn't that bad. It was like 70, 80
Oh yeah,
degrees.
yeah. That's
And
not
there
bad.
and there is a heat index over there, but it's not the same as the heat index here. But dealing with it consecutively in the Philippines, dealing with that heat is probably because I don't know Nebraska, but probably Nebraska is really close to Missouri. I think both of them are pretty similar. So yeah, you said like 7 days, you would get like a week's worth of hot, and then it would kind of cool off.
Yeah, like August maybe.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we would get like fluctuating weather. Like today here, it was like 60 degrees.
Yeah,
It's
here
when
too,
yeah,
64.
yeah, it's like 60
Oh,
degrees.
it was
And
gorgeous. Man, I thought it felt like spring to me.
I know you said
It
you
was
went walking earlier
it was
today.
so amazingly
Yeah,
wonderful.
no, we've had two. I've had 2 good days. I don't know if you had 2 good days, but we've had two
Yeah.
good days of good weather, and it's feeling nice.
Yeah.
For this, my wife would feel cold though, and I'm trying to figure out like what my wife would adjust to because she's
She
used to
will.
heat.
Oh, she will.
yeah, and I'm hoping she can get used to 70-degree temperatures, 70 and 60s.
There's nothing like it. When she gets these 70 degrees mild days,
Hmm.
she's going to say like, "Wow, this is great," and she'll appreciate hopefully going through the four seasons and coming out of the four seasons.
Mm.
Eventually, you start enjoying that fall as long as you can because you know winter's coming around.
Hmm.
You've
Yeah.
experienced it, but then you know it's going to start to warm up,
Hmm.
and then it's like, wow, the winter might be getting over, and then you get another snow, and then it's for real, and then it's like, wow, this is spring, and the flowers, everything is beautiful, and then it gets a little bit warmer, and then there's still some nice days in the fall. And I think mentally you get used to that cycle, and
Okay.
it's a good thing. It's better than being the Philippines. It's just hot all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
think
just,
you like the colder, cooler weather. Winter, I don't know. It depends if she
yeah.
has to drive in it, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah. But my wife will say it's cold outside when it's 72 degrees in the Philippines.
My wife too.
And
When
I'm
we
like,
went to that place you said you didn't like as much as I
it's
did,
2 degree.
the nature park,
You know,
it's
you're
like
you're
the heaviest
saying
thing
it's
to see my
22
wife ever
degrees in the
feel.
Philippines and it's 2 degrees here, Celsius. I mean, whatever. So it's like right above freezing here. And I'm like, you think you're cold.
She will get used to it.
Yeah, hopefully she does. I'm
If
like,
you just tell
I'm
her,
balled up in like 3 layers of clothes, and you're saying you're cold.
yeah, she'll get used to it. She will. It's
Yeah,
all so much to get used to. You almost don't even want to think about most of it because it'll happen when it happens. And
yeah, that's true.
homesickness, being away, learning to be familiar with where in the world she is.
Hmm.
Fortunately, in the Philippines, you're good at landmark spotting because they don't
Hmm.
have a lot of signs. And so my wife is better at finding places here in Nebraska and where we live because than I am, even though I've been here all my life. Why? Because I look for signs or whatever, and she looks for certain colors or buildings or
Buildings.
landmarks. You have to have that skill.
In the
I
Philippines,
don't.
you
I
do.
never know which direction I'm going, and
Hmm.
everything looks the same to me. But she's only looking for certain things, which is smart. That's why she doesn't get lost over here
Okay. Oh, I
or
didn't.
in the Philippines, driving in the
Okay.
dark. She remembers landmarks in the dark, but you
Really?
have to be able to do to drive over there because there's not a lot of light in the streets in some places. It's really dark.
Oh, that
You
was
have
one
people
thing
crossing the
too.
street, and you can't even see them, and they're walking across the street, and you're putting
Yeah,
on the brakes.
yeah, that was one thing too. Like I would drive at night, and there's like no street lights at all. Nothing. No streetlights. Compared to here, you can get some kind of illumination from some kind of
Something.
buildings, some streetlights every so often here, and like you just drive for a while, you get other cars, on
Mhm.
the highways driving and stuff. No matter what, you would get some kind of illumination here, and in the Philippines, it's like non-existent. You're driving in the dark, straight in the dark.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Not over there. I'll end up in a ditch or and the roads are often not good. You want to be able
We
to see those
we
holes.
did. We had to do that, at one point. Like, my wife had a 10-hour hairdo in one of our vlogs, and I had to drive home in the dark, and on a motorcycle, and I was afraid because how dark it
You
was.
should have been.
Yeah. So, yeah, but
I just let my wife's
we
family
got
drive.
through it, and I got back, but I didn't know where I was driving. So,
Of course, because everything looks the same and there's no street signs.
yeah, exactly.
Or often there isn't
Yeah.
because everybody there
I
knows
was in
where
the
they
Providence area, so it was the countryside, completely
are. Yeah,
dark.
yeah.
So, yeah,
What
yeah,
that's like.
that's the way it was.
But
The
drink
last,
lots of water. That's all you can do. Stay out of the direct heat as much as you can. But if she wants to go to the beach and take the family out there for a picnic,
Mhm.
you probably should. You just try to find, if you can, somewhere in the shade. They should
Yeah,
have some places for people to sit that are older and don't want to be out there
yeah.
near
So,
the water.
yeah, a lot of McDonald's and stuff there. So if you really want to go to like places to stay out of the heat, if you really need to go inside of like a Jollibee, go inside of the mall for a while, go inside of McDonald's there. There's a few restaurants and stuff there. Oh, that was another thing. Here, I'm gonna turn this off for a second. Did you notice all the security everywhere?
Yeah, I did, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it makes me feel safe, not uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about that? So
I'm glad they
beyond
are.
beyond just feeling safe,
They
like
need to do that here in America.
I know. So,
We,
yeah.
we just went to that place to eat. I told you the night market and it was raining.
Hmm.
Sure enough, there are people with rifles out there, and you got
Hmm.
to. I don't know what my wife showed them. She handles all of that stuff with the Filipinos, and but yeah, you always they don't just let anybody in there
Nope.
because you potentially could be a terrorist. I suppose there's a reason they check that.
Are you talking about the Rojas Street Market?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
So my wife and Rodell, the one gentleman who was showing us around in Davao, they said I think it was back in 2015. I think so. I would have to check the date, but they these two terrorists threw two grenades into that market and one
Oh,
into a
really?
school. Yeah, one into a school. Yeah, they actually threw grenades in there. Yeah, I would have to
Well,
look it
maybe
up.
that's why they check now. But when we went to, to France and Paris, everywhere you go, there's military, and
Yeah.
it never made me feel uncomfortable. Yes, they have guns, they have rifles,
Hmm.
but that's to protect me. But
It was
also there's
2016.
a threat something could go wrong. But
Yeah.
that's why they're there. And then when we got back from there, somebody had gone into the Notre Dame Cathedral and started holding people captive there, right? Shortly after we got back. So I'm sure the police took care of that, but there's a
Yeah.
reason they have those police there. And yeah, don't be alarmed. It doesn't necessarily mean that danger is imminent. That's just what they do. It could be a
Yeah.
little store, or it could be an outside market or the mall, and they're going to have people there that probably have guns and will use them if they have to.
Yeah, exactly. And that was one thing I felt more safer about that situation after that. When we drove down to Davao, I I went through an actual military checkpoint too. So
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. That's
yeah,
a little bit
yeah, that was kind of one thing.
nervous.
What's
The
up?
whole family, the whole family might be a little nervous about that, but they've probably done it before. But
Yeah.
you just never
Well,
know.
it wasn't the whole family. It was just me, my wife, and my son at that
Okay.
at that particular time. We
Well,
we
and
didn't we didn't take the whole family down to Val. That was our honeymoon getaway place.
those military checkpoints can also take advantage of you too. Anybody
They
potentially
just
could if
waved
they're
me
corrupt.
on. That was it. They wanted me to
Yeah,
roll
well,
down the windows and wave me forward. That was
yeah,
all
we
it was.
never had any trouble. But if they wanted to, they
Yeah,
could say, "What's this bag here?
yeah.
Is this legal? Are you supposed to have?" I've never seen that before in my life. Well, for $2,000, we can make that go away.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so then, what are you going to do? Do you want to
2000
spend the night in jail, or do you want to somehow get the money to them so they can let you buy? So
2000 actual dollars or 2000?
whatever they want to extort from you.
Okay.
However well off you might look, I suppose.
I was not well off, and
Yeah, don't
honestly,
look like a bum, but
yeah,
because you want to make a good impression of the family.
yeah. But
But just
I was not about.
be very casual dressed out
Yeah.
there. Be
Yeah.
prepared.
If
Just
somebody
wear the
told me that, I'd
normal
be like,
clothes.
man, you're messing with the wrong guy. I don't have that kind of money. So
Yeah, just dress casually.
yeah,
Don't look like you're well off.
yeah.
No reason to attract attention.
Mm. I got you on that one, but yeah, that was kind of one thing that I noticed about it, though. But they were generally nice. They would open doors for people there too.
Yeah.
Security. So any establishment, typically, this was the kind of one thing I noticed. Any establishment that could afford it, especially if there was a mall or if there was a decent Jollibee or a decent McDonald's, and any decent places, they would put security in the place for those particular reasons, so nobody can just run out and steal things. So no,
Mhm.
no big issues that would happen. And a lot of the security, they don't really want to do anything, but the fact is that they're there to kind of deter people from doing it. And
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that was just one thing that I noticed. They're everywhere. There's security everywhere. Typically, you would see security at like malls here, and that's kind of it. But you don't really even hardly see the security at the malls now.
Oh, never.
Yeah, yeah,
Not. I mean, maybe some guy hiding from security out of sight, but
yeah.
no, they don't walk
Somebody
around
looking at
openly with
security cam
weapons.
somewhere out of sight that's eating donuts and drinking coffee
Yeah.
somewhere. We're
Could be.
we're back and watching cameras, but that's it. That's all we got. But there, I mean, they're physically showing themselves, and they actually have it. When I went there in the time of COVID, they were actually checking people for vaccines. You know, their vaccine cards. Like, you could not come in the mall without the vaccine card. That was another thing. They were actually doing that in certain establishments you could not walk into. That was a big one. I don't know if they're still doing that now. I don't think they're doing that much now, but they were doing it at one point. And I know for Arab,
restrictions are over.
yeah, a lot of them are over. But the Philippines was like one of the last ones that were still trying to keep them going for a while.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, it's just because they wanted to be extra safe. They wanted to try.
Or there was money in it for them, most likely.
Maybe too, but yeah, they were prolonging it for a long time. Yeah, that's the way it is. And then the last one's a little harder for probably you because you haven't done it in a while, but it's travel requirements. Are you ready for travel requirements? I know when it comes to travel requirements, it's like this. So you do have to register yourself, whether you are vaccinated or not, for e-travel. And there's a lot of things that you need to consider before you do go over there. So you need to register that if you're vaccinated, unvaccinated, or if you're recovered from having COVID and everything too, you just need to register all of that through e-travel now. There was another one. I didn't even use e-travel. Like I think the Philippines switched it like 3 different times. They were, what did I use? It was something. I gotta look at my phone real quick what I used. But it was something else before we use e-travel.
So if you've already uploaded information, you may have to do it all over again.
Maybe.
We did have to go the last time.
I don't know.
Proving we were vaccinated and
yeah,
all those different methods of
yeah,
being cleared to go in, and
yeah.
I don't know. I was hoping now nobody.
It's called One Health. I had to do One Health before e-travel.
Yeah, that was mandatory.
Yeah, they're using e-travel now. So One Health was kind of buggy, and they were using it, and yeah, and that's what I was using. And then now they switched it to e-travel. I think they switched it a couple different times now, and just to use it as a way to see if you're vaccinated or not in the Philippines. I know you do have to do that now. I do know also that you at least have to have a 6-month required passport at least. You know, it has to be valid for at least up to 6 months.
I'm going to have to redo mine now that you mention that.
Oh, really?
Well, I got it in 2015.
Okay.
In what? To fly?
Mm-hmm.
Probably March.
Okay.
So that's just like what? 10 years would be.
Yeah.
We're probably 12 months, 13, 14 months away from me having to do whatever I have to do to get that passport.
Yeah.
Extended, because we probably will go in 2025.
Oh, will you? Okay.
If we're going to go, it'd be 2025. And that would be 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to do something probably this year. I'll have to ask my wife what to do.
Yeah.
So that we can have that out of the way. But yeah, if you have a passport you've used before, but not for a while, and you're almost going to expire, like Paul said, within 6 months, you might want to make sure that that's going to be accepted when you get there.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things like that. I put up one of my recent videos of how to actually do it. Basically, you just go to philippineairlines.com. I'm going to do it right now real quick. So you actually go to, well, I'm on here right now. I can't show this. Well, maybe I can show the screen. I'll see if I can share my screen real quick. So one way that you can do is, let's see if I can actually do this. Can I share my screen on here? Present, share my screen. Okay, here we go. And select. Yeah, right here. Okay. So what you do here is allow. Can you see my screen, Bob?
I can.
Okay, so all right, cool. Okay. So what you do is here, you go to Philippine Airlines, and then you just go to prepare here. And then you go, this is a little buggy. You have to go down and then over. So because I tried to hit prepare and then it moves away from me. Prepare travel requirements. Okay. And then what you do is you put in your origin. And this is in my previous, in my recent uploaded video. So let's just say we are leaving like Los Angeles right now. And let's just say our destination is Manila. Okay. And then you would put in your vaccine status, fully recovered, unvaccinated, fully vaccinated. Let's just say that, and then your travel type. So this is what kind of person you are traveling. If you're a Filipino national, a former Filipino, a foreign national, you have a 9E visa for long term visas, and national visa under this, under business travels and others. And me and Bob, we would, uh, Bob would be considered a 9A. I think I could be too, but I think you have to apply for that, right?
I let my wife handle all
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Okay. Okay.
She's
But
the
typically
expert.
if you're not married to I think for 9A, normally you can, if you are married to a Filipina, you can get a 9A visa for extended. But if you're not married yet, you have to do a foreign national visa free country. For us here in America and in Canada, for everyone else, you have to get a visa. I think for anyone else and a few others. But for us, we're visa free. And then you hit search here, and then basically this tells you your proof of vaccination not required. Home quarantine, you don't have to do that anymore. You have to have a government requirement. So this is your e-travel registration. You just click on here. I'm actually going to open up in a new tab. Does it show up the new tab? Let's see if it shows up the new tab. Does that show up the new?
Appreciate the 7 people watching here tonight. This is
Okay.
probably our third live stream simulcast on each of our channels.
Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
from Love Beyond the Sea.
Okay, it doesn't show up the new tab, but basically, yeah, you just do that, and I would have to switch my share screen, but it's fine. But we're gonna go back over here again for travel requirements and your passport validity. It says up to 6 months right here, valid period up to 6 months, and then you're only allowed currently under being a visa free. You're only allowed here to stay up to 30 days unless you're longer, and but then you need a return ticket unless you get a throwaway ticket, which a throwaway ticket means that you can choose to stay longer but and you have to overextend your stay, but also you have to go apply for an extension on your 30-day visa. And I think the next one is 3 months after that, or but apparently it varies for multiple different people. So some organizations will let you extend it to 3 months. Some will let you stay extend it 6 months. Some won't let you extend it at all. You have to kind of hunt around for different companies and different places to allow you to actually extend your visa. But in order to do a to extend your visa, you need a throwaway ticket. I will recommend that if you want to watch Jennifer Terry's YouTube channel, maybe I'll make one eventually about how to do a throwaway ticket. I've never done one personally, but she knows several people that have done that. And basically, what a throwaway ticket is basically it's a ticket that you purchase temporarily, but you get your money paid back. So and so you can extend your visa further, and that's how that kind of works. And it's kind of a hard situation to do, but you need a return ticket before you can even be allowed into the Philippines because they want to see you actually show up there and not extend your stay. And that's kind of how that works.
Hmm.
Yeah. But it's interesting, but that's how you do it. If you want to extend your stay, you need a throwaway ticket, and then try to also extend your stay and apply to extend your stay before your throwaway ticket's up. So yeah, that's
The
kind of
one note I jotted down here, Paul, above all else that I would say
yeah.
in the basic area of being prepared to go to the Philippines is to rely on the Filipina as much as you possibly can. If you're
Hmm.
going there and you don't know anybody and you're going to meet people there, you're kind of at a disadvantage. If you have a Filipina who's been there, she knows what to do and how to help you avoid getting in trouble and really give you some good information to be prepared. When I go with my wife, she takes us everywhere. She organizes everything. She makes the phone calls with the different relatives to come pick us up. She'll we'll even rent a car and she'll drive it. And now that she's driving,
Mm.
so we'll probably do that all the time in the future. But she handles everything. She always has paperwork for the visa, flights. I make sure I double check it and I make sure I understand it. But we go to travel agent. But beyond that, she handles everything in the Philippines, all the details.
Mm.
If we're going to take the group of the family somewhere, let her deal with it. Who's going, who's driving, and it's so helpful. In fact, I'm just lazy. I mean, I don't have it. I have it so easy having a woman in the Philippines that knows how to get me around, and I don't have to be nervous or anxious about any of that stuff
Mm.
because she's just saying this is the vow, it's safe, and just let me help you with everything. And I'm so blessed to have her there because I would never make it out alive if I went by myself. I mean, I did, but I met her right away at the airport. Other than that, I wouldn't have known. I would have got taken advantage of by the taxi drivers, and who knows, One reason they're there is to keep you from straying, while you're approached by other women.
Mm.
That's part of something that she's concerned about to make sure that she keeps you away from that temptation. So she probably wants to meet you right when you get off the plane.
Yeah, they do.
Very,
Yeah,
very common.
yeah. But I had no inclination of finding anyone else besides my wife. So, and she showed up. She did show up at the airport for Cagayan, but uh, I didn't have her show up the airplane at Manila. I didn't really need her to go all the way to Manila. So I was already going to make my way. I was going to make my way to Cagayan no matter what. But that was kind of.
Well, it takes some
I know
guts to go
yeah,
that far away to look for a
yeah.
wife.
I know for a lot of other people, in a lot of other relationships, that it can be difficult to do that because she's got to wait for you to get to the embassy now. I didn't have to do that. So that was kind of a whole nother situation that I had to, I got to avoid. And I was blessed to avoid. But I know a lot of other people, especially because she wants to be with you right away and you're waiting an extra day because you got to go to this embassy, and some people can afford to fly them up there and then fly down with them, which is not a bad thing. If you can do it, go for it. But you have to account for that amount of money. That's kind of like, are you prepared, with the money too, to do that also?
It's
You
only
have to.
about $120 usually to get from Davao to Manila, Manila
It
to
was
Davao.
more. I
It
think
could
it was.
end up being as high
Yeah,
as 200, if
yeah,
conditions are right,
yeah,
a piece,
yeah,
or each way, I should say.
yeah. It was cheaper for us. We took a ferry all from Cagayan to Cebu, and it was cheaper for us to do the ferry, and then we took a plane back.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a lot easier for us to do that, because I was like, because especially because I'm not just paying for me and my wife, it was also me and my wife and my son.
Hmm.
and and uh and I wanted us all to go on this trip to Cebu, and that's basically what I did. And I was just like, well, how can I make this cheaper? So I think I saved like $250 taking the ferry instead of taking the plane up there and then taking the plane back. It was a longer trip on the ferry because it was like a 9-hour ferry ride.
Can't imagine that.
Well, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, we got to check out the ship. We just got to rest, and I got to spend time with her, so it was nice.
I would only like that if it stayed close enough that I could see the shore.
Oh, really?
In case I had to jump out and swim, I wouldn't want to be out in the middle of that
You
water. There's
even if
no
you were able to jump out and swim, if you couldn't, you
stay
couldn't.
about 50 feet from the shore, please, so I can at least feel that if something happens, I can get out of there and
Well,
make
how
my
did you
way.
feel on the plane? Because you were already 6,000 feet up in the sky,
Well, I
away
know
from.
that, but the plane doesn't feel like you're moving most of the time.
Oh, okay, all
And
right,
once you learn to watch TV, the TV screens in front of you, find
yeah,
something good, that does distract you a lot on a 14 hour
okay,
flight.
okay.
And I never felt bad. The only time was when you hit turbulence.
Mm.
Most flights, you're probably not going to hit turbulence, but when you do, let's better sit down and get our seatbelts on, everyone.
Yeah,
But usually that doesn't
I kind
last
of got
long.
turbulence once on the way back. We got a little bit of a turbulence.
It feels like you're running into a wall, boom,
Depends.
running into a
Yeah,
wall. And then it's like, okay, well, I don't know how that works. If it's wind or there's another plane too close, or I
it's
don't
it,
know.
it's yeah, it's a wind. It's kind of a wind on the turbulence. That's all it is.
That's the most disconcerting thing because most of the time, whether it's just luck or not, most of the time the windows are shut.
Mm.
I don't recall them ever telling anybody to shut their windows, but most of our flights, the windows seem to be shut, at least when it's dark. You don't see anything. And they might open it up in the morning for breakfast. On the plane, they give you breakfast. That's always a good sign if you're getting close. Um, but I was never scared, and
Okay.
I thought I might be,
Yeah. I
but
flew in
it's
yeah.
not bad.
I know
Take off,
I know we flew in the dark and stuff a lot, and
you know,
I mean, even if you looked outside, you couldn't see anything.
not worth it.
Yeah,
Nothing out there
yeah,
except you wouldn't want to see all the water underneath you,
yeah.
and that is a little bit of a fear. But if you had to see how much water was underneath you, that would make me a little afraid.
Mm,
Because it's a long flight,
yeah.
very long flight. You see that plane indicating where you are, and you check 2 hours later,
No,
and it's like gone backwards or something. It's
it's
got
not
to
even
be,
moved
got to be
hardly.
in the middle by now, and it's like, are we
Yeah.
ever going to get there?
I
That's
f
my
I
biggest
was
problem.
finally happy when we were actually over Hawaii.
Yeah, well, you still have wait. You mean on the way back or the way there?
Both, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it's
I was finally
a lot
happy.
of that.
I was happy just to see it on the screen, though. I was just like, "Oh, we're over Hawaii."
Yeah, or give you how many miles you've got to go, how long
Oh,
it'll
man, it was
take.
long.
You don't want to look at it too much. You want to find a good movie to watch or
My
two, and
son
then
looked
maybe
at it
check
all the
against
time
the
because
series.
he was like, "Are we there yet?" And I was like,
Yeah, I'll bet
"Not
he said that
there
a
yet."
million times.
Yeah,
That has
yeah.
to be tough for a 10-year-old.
I was just like, "Just calm down." Well, he was 8 at the time.
Yeah, that's got to
Yeah.
be that flight had to last a week to him.
I think
Terrible,
it lasted a week to me.
terrible.
It's fine.
But you
I
only
just
have to do it once.
I just relaxed.
To
Wait,
go in there and get married and go through all the meeting everybody the first
you
time, and
do
the
it
first
once
time it's
twice. You
over.
have to do it once twice on the way there and way back. Yeah.
I'm ready if we have to go again. I'll just ask my wife what to do. We'll go to a
Okay.
travel agent.
Okay.
And we'll go through the same routine
Yeah.
that we've always gone through, and maybe
We should all go
2000.
together.
We could. You could go in 25, and
I'd like
we
to.
may, we may go in 25. We don't have any. My wife would need a bundle of vacation before she would be able to take off 3 weeks. She doesn't want to take 2 weeks off. She said that's no time.
Okay.
Can't do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can. We
2
did
weeks is
that once,
not
and it
enough.
was like nothing. It was like we just got there and turned around and came back.
Yeah. I, I mean, I mean, I really want my next time to be longer, a lot longer if I could, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it. And it depends. I would need to figure out that with my wife. So I would
It's
like
going
to.
to get your mail and pay your bills.
Yeah.
Get your mailbox so it doesn't pile up and get stuff off your porch. Otherwise, you're a target for theft.
Yeah. I don't have to worry too much about that.
If you're gone that long, you got to get your mailbox empty. You got to pay somebody or
No, I don't have
help
to worry about
somebody.
that. I have someone that lives with me, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that piling up.
No, that won't pile up on me. So that's how that works. But yeah. But it shouldn't pile up too much. They help out. Yeah. Last time I was able to send my dog over to my dad's house, and my mom took care of my house, so that's how it worked, and it was good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another preparation. If you're going
Yeah.
to be gone for any period of time,
Yeah.
make sure your bills are covered. If it's the winter, make sure somebody shovels your snow,
Mm.
because that'll be a requirement. Usually at 9 a.m. you got to get that shoveled off. And just logistical things like make sure you have no doctor's appointments scheduled. Make sure when you come back, you don't have anything scheduled right away. Give yourself some
that's
margin
true.
on both
That's true. You
sides.
got to worry about your fridge too. You got to worry about everything that's going to spoil in your fridge.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to consume everything that you can consume that you can't wait until you get back to eat meat.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all part of it. Meds. If you're going to be there, now I don't know how many meds you take, but if you're going to be gone for like 2, 3, 4 months, that's a lot of meds. That's you can't even get them refilled in that time. Because every 3 months you got to get it refilled. So how are you going to get your new meds? Well, you get it in the Philippines if you go to the drugstore.
Okay.
Hard to say. You almost have to ask somebody to check now what if certain meds are there. And some of us like me do take some meds. And
yeah, I'm not there
we're
yet.
not going if we can't get them.
Yeah.
In the Philippines.
Yeah. I'm not at the med age yet, so I haven't. I don't have to worry about medication yet for my age and my health. I'm not too young, but I'm not too old yet.
That's good.
So far, I'm hoping never to do that. Knowing the
Well,
amount of
well, I think we
knowing the
all
amount of knowing the amount of medication my mom has to take every morning, it's difficult. It's yeah, it's really difficult. I'm trying to take care of my health as much as I can, but probably
well,
need to take care of it
you got a
better.
son
Hopefully, my
and a
wife can.
wife
What?
to worry about. You got a son and a wife to worry about.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
true.
great incentive to live longer.
Yeah, that is true. I, I I know my wife wants to be with me as long as she can. She keeps telling me that too. She's like, I know you're older, but I want to stay. I want to stay the rest of our life together as much as I can with you. I'm like, okay,
That's the one thing I almost can feel guilty about. We have a 27-year age difference, and it's nothing really when you're younger, and it's nothing now. I'm
yeah,
62, she's 35, and it's not a factor in our relationship, but it's just the fact that you know we're not the same age,
mm,
and we probably I would prefer we be the same age. But that's
yeah,
ludicrous because we're not the same age. But at least for now, I have a wife, and I want to be the best I can for her for as long as I can.
yeah,
And I've told her, once in a while, I say, "Hon, you're going to spend more years alone after I die than we were married one of these days. If we're married for 20 years, you're still going to spend more than that after I die alone."
yeah,
And I don't know why I say that. I guess because I think like an older person, and it's like that bothers me, because she won't remarry. If our marriage is good, she won't remarry. That's
yeah,
typically their way of doing things.
exactly.
And I sure hope she can be happy at the end of her life after I've gone, because she doesn't think she's going to marry again. Only if it's a bad marriage will
Mm,
they remarry. If it's a good marriage, they say, you know what, I'm not pushing my luck.
yeah,
This is one that was meant to be because it was good, and it can only go down from here. So they're likely not to remarry.
good. It was the greatest marriage that they ever had, kind of a thing. So, that's all they needed. They only needed the one marriage in life. They didn't need to remarry. That's really different compared in America because many people even here they're like, well, I have to get remarried because I don't know how to do it without them. I'm like, you you kind of can, but you just don't want to. You want to find someone else because because not because you miss that person. It's more likely because you needed that person.
Paul, I couldn't. I can just admit
Yeah,
now, I couldn't remarry.
yeah.
I couldn't, unless God
Couldn't
stood in
either.
front of me in flaming fire and said,
Yeah.
"You will remarry somebody." I think I would have the option to 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 not remarry, because I couldn't do it. Because every time I look at her, I
Hmm.
would think of my wife,
Yeah,
and
we would.
every single memory and every little piddly thing around the house is going to
Yeah,
remind me of us, not her, but
us.
her plus me and
Yeah.
us. I couldn't do it. I'm a very sentimental, emotional person. I just don't think I could do it.
Mm.
Unless I was commanded to by God Himself, I think I would say, I just, I feel like I couldn't give that woman the best, because I already gave another woman the best, all I had in the prime of my life. What
Hmm.
do I have to give somebody else now? If my wife is gone, that's why I pray for her all the time, every morning, every evening. I pray for her safety, among other things,
Mm.
driving, accidents, people. You see these videos on TikTok about people just walking around minding their own business and getting assaulted, and well, that could happen.
Yeah.
Could happen anywhere. It's a dangerous,
Yeah. It could happen
dangerous
anywhere. Yeah.
world
Especially
now.
here.
Anywhere here.
It's, yeah. I get that. I do get that. Hmm. Do you have anything else to add? I mean, or are we kind of done?
Well, I
Uh,
was
kind of
hoping
covered.
somebody would toss out a question about,
I
I'm
mean,
going to be going soon. Can you help me with
uh, we
this or
can we can open up the topic. We haven't done that again. I totally forgot about that. We can open up the topic for Q&As if anyone has any Q&As. We got 4 people currently watching us. We're trying to encourage more people to watch us. So if you know anyone, send more friends and And if you are currently watching this after the live replay, you are welcome to join us. Currently live, we go live. We're trying to do every 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. And if you do like this content, please like and subscribe. We'll be trying to be doing this more often. If Bob doesn't have anything to do and I don't have anything to do next Friday, we will be trying to discuss our next topic here, as long as everything prevails, as long as God wills. But currently, right now, we can open everything up to a Q&A, and if anyone has anything, we're here for you.
Hi, Paul T. How are you
Hey, Paul
tonight?
T. So
the shop is still open here, so there's still some
Yep.
tables left. If you want to come in, hang up your coat. And
Yep.
a reminder, Paul is waiting for his wife to be here. He's younger than I am,
Unfortunately.
and so he's much more used. It's newer to him, the process of going there and going through that whole dating and online and speaking to strangers from 1,000 miles away thing. And my wife's been here since 2016. And so our perspectives are different, but we're both took the time and just made the decision to go to the Philippines for a wife.
Yeah.
Maybe at the dismay of some others, but that's just where we felt we honestly had to try if we were serious about getting married. And that's where I got married. That's where Paul got married. And people still continue to get married. And
all the time.
We don't want to get married.
I don't know. We've been on phone calls. Me and you have both been on phone calls or video calls with several individuals, and we've been trying to help them as best as we can to help them be prepared to go over there, either mentally, either helping them understand the process of going over there, paperwork, any of it. So, but if you all have any kinds of questions, you guys are open to any kinds of thoughts, interjections, let us know, and we'll answer them today. We are currently going through a Q&A right now. If not, and no one has any interjections, we'll close this live stream and we will call it a day. And we will hope to see you guys back next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a new topic. And so for join us for the live, and we will be doing that. Me and Bob need to figure out our next topic. If you guys have any topics, that's another thing. If you guys have any topics that you guys want us to discuss on, we can open that up too for next week.
Yeah, we had about 10 main points,
Yeah. This one was 9 points, but Bob kind of added his own points. Bob always adds his own points.
Well, I mean, there's preparation
there's so many.
You start thinking about, what do I put in my bag?
Yeah.
Well, that's just one aspect of preparation to me. The other is mental preparation.
Many. Yeah.
Are you sure you're going to be there and be comfortable? I've had guys tell me, honestly, Bob, I just am too afraid of flying, or I just don't want the hassle of all that.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a big deterrent to getting over there. And maybe they're just not really ready. You've got to be ready to say, I'm going to go over there. I know things are probably going to go wrong here and there, just like happened to Bob and what happened to Paul, but I'm open for that because it's just part of the exciting process of going thousands of miles away to another country and another culture to find somebody to marry. And it's a very exciting thing. We both recommend it. When you're careful about what you're doing, you can, things could go really bad if you're not, careful.
It could definitely go really bad if you're not careful. I can see definitely how that plays out. I know a lot of people. I know Bob probably more often than I do, because I just kind of show off our experiences, and Bob talks about his experiences and some of his knowledge, but I'm trying to shift over to my channel to talk about more like Bob does. And he does a lot more on TikTok than I do. And he gets a lot of, I wouldn't say backlash, but he gets a lot of people that respond, I guess, in bitter ways about their negative experiences or their negative knowledge about certain things that have happened.
Oh, like all of those Filipinos are all the same.
They're all the same. They're all gold diggers.
And so I try to say, you know what, guys, you're not totally wrong. Women out there want to marry somebody to give them a better life, and that is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to be. We make a video soon about being enthusiastic about your job, They're going to ask, what do you do for a living? They may not ask you how much you make, but how
Mm,
long have you been doing it? What do you do for a living? What's your future plans? And that's just a sensible question for somebody that's serious about getting married. A lot of guys are offended by that. That's what I made the video. Don't be offended. And one thing you can do, even if you're not crazy about your job, what she will want to see from you is that you are enthusiastic about it.
mm,
You don't have to be an all-American, so to speak. You don't
yeah,
have to be making 100,000 a year, but she would appreciate you wanting to go to work with a good attitude and not bringing it home and ruining her day with tough days at work.
yeah.
So that's something my wife has made it clear to me. I have to be careful how I vent. We do vent to each other, but
But
you know,
venting to other people. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so interested in her life. I want to know every little thing that happened at work, not because I don't trust her, but because a lot of times she won't tell me what happened, so I don't know why she's acting the way she is, or
Oh, okay.
I want to know if somebody said something bad or whatever. I mean, tell me. At least I can pray for you if I can't do anything else.
Yep, that's true. That is true. I think next week we should talk about the hate though too. What do you think?
Jealousy,
Huh?
jealousy, hate.
No, no. I mean, we could talk about that too, but I was talking about like just the negative comments that we're bombarded with about
Oh,
people.
like you're a
Hate mail.
you're a simp,
Huh?
weak
Yeah, you're a
beta,
simp, you're a what is
soy
what
boy,
is what is it?
soy boy.
Soy boy. I never heard of that one. What's a soy boy?
Oh, it's probably a woke term for
Okay.
kind of a weak
No.
guy. And
Okay.
Filipinas, I don't
Similar
think
to a simp.
I think they want a strong man.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't mean they want you bossing them around, but they do want someone that has a good attitude. Us Westerners are known for having bad tempers, short fuses.
Hmm.
Quite frankly, compared to them, and what we see, that is true. And I would do well, and I don't, to do a better job of controlling my temper around certain places. I guess she says you get too aggressive and you're going to get us in trouble if you don't back down. So she pulls me away from places
Mm.
because I like to win. I don't like to lose, but I have to be very careful because I don't. I just got to be real. I can throw words around like darts, or bullets, and I got to be real. I should know better than that at my age.
Yeah. I got you.
If she keeps reminding me, sometimes not so gently, that I got to watch my tongue, and my aggression,
James 3,
because
taming of the tongue.
if anyone could get arrested for their facial expression, that would be me.
Oh no.
Um, I, mean, I get pretty, I get pretty intense. So I don't know why that is, but it is. And so that's a cultural thing that you want to be careful. If you tend to have a bad temper or impatient, try to improve in the Philippines because they will not like that. They will think you're weird, strange, deranged, got
Yeah.
problems,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you just have to be. But that's a good thing about marriage. It makes you better. You have that other person telling you
It does
things
make
that
you
nobody
better.
at work is going to tell you. They're just going to let you go. I don't have to be married to that guy. Well, that woman does. So she should feel free to talk about this. You do this and it bothers me.
Mm.
Or we need to talk about this. Um, so the communication will come when you guys are together in real life, so to speak,
Mm.
next to each other, making decisions together. You know, 100 little things that you won't even think of until it happens. You argue about how full the garbage has to be before it gets thrown out, or who's going to do what, and how the clothes are washed, and how the dishes are washed, or how they're dried. And it's like, no, you're not doing it right. And things you can argue about. It's like, gosh, I wish we weren't arguing about this, but you'll go through it, even with an American woman.
Yeah.
But in the Philippines, they're used to doing the kitchen stuff. It's like my wife told me, you are in charge. I am in charge of what's inside the house, and you are in charge of what's outside the house, more or less, like cutting the grass.
A dirty the kitchen.
And she's in charge of, cleaning. But that all changed when she
Yeah.
got her other job. But
Yeah.
now I do more of that. But That's just part of it too. Oh, what was your comment? SP?
Yeah, he just sent
Let's
SP on
code
X.
for that.
I was I was
Super,
I was getting ready to ask him what it meant, but it's fine. It's all good.
super
Hey,
performance. Thank
Brandon,
you.
we're
Super
just
performance.
good to have you. I mean, what we'll kind of do is, just for the sake of you, is I can just kind of quickly go over everything that we kind of covered. You can still watch the replay too, but basically the live stream was already ready for your trip to the Philippines. Tips and tricks to help you better be prepared. And then basically we did talk about different preparations for flights in the Philippines. We talked about all variations, but either emotionally or physically, are you prepared for your actual flight there? And then we also just talked about, do you have enough money to go to the Philippines to take care of not just yourself, but also take care of your significant other, who you're also going to be meeting there, or anything in between. Like, are you prepared enough for, the amount of costs that you have to put in place with regarding food cost, regarding transportation costs, regarding any other costs, even helping their family costs in some cases. Whatever you're planning on doing, if you're planning on getting married, that's a whole nother dynamic. Are you ready for the airport? Both physically and mentally. 14-hour flights. We were talking about that. The long-hour flights, the opportunities, and the everything that has to be for travel requirements and luggage and dealing with that, going through that, and transporting yourself. Also, we were talking about the Manila airport. We did mention about that. Also, on top of that, basically that you're going to have to deal with the Wi-Fi, deal with cell phone issues while being there. Manila doesn't have, especially the airports there, they don't have very good Wi-Fi, so you're going to have difficulties there if you don't have your cell phone set up for international calling service, especially for the Philippines, because some cell phone services don't have it. Will have international calling, but only certain regions. So you need to extend your cell phone service. That's another thing you have to consider about. Um, are you considered? Are you considered a picky eater? Are you going to be picky eating certain foods while you're there? That's a big issue that you might have to deal with. Bob and me talked about the types of different foods that we like or dislike. Bob doesn't like ballots. I've tried it, didn't really mind it. And yeah, that was another situation. He liked lechon. I didn't mind lechon too much. Yeah, it was, he said it's more like bacon. I'm not a big fish person. Are you a big fish person? That's another one. Different kinds of fruit there too. So that's another one. Are you ready for some culture shocks? Bunch of different things that we could have talked about with culture shocks. Just dealing with the difference is between the kind of electric they have, the poor internet services they have, the way they drive there. So many different capabilities. And, are you ready for that? Oh, there's no toilet paper. Dealing with toilet paper issues and stuff like
That's my big issue
that.
there.
Using a
There's
tabo and
lots of
stuff.
toilet paper.
Yeah, yeah. So many of them. Are you ready for her family? Are you considered a reserved person? Do you like to stay to yourself, or are you introverted or extroverted? I'm extroverted. I know Bob's a little bit more introverted, and typically he was mentioning a little bit that typically when he goes, he stays to himself. He kind of wants to rest and kind of relax, but she wants to see the whole family. I'm okay either which way. I like to go see the whole family. But are you ready to encourage the family and come alongside them, because they're gonna walk inside of your house no matter what, or they're gonna stop by either no matter what kind of activity they're gonna stop by. They're gonna have karaoke, they're gonna have parties, they're gonna have all these different things, and you're either gonna be drained or you're gonna be excited depending on what kind of person you are. And are you ready for some jet lag? That was another one. Going there or back or both. For me, it was kind of going back, and a big sign of relief of finally being back. That was kind of my issue, and dealing with kind of readapting to my environment Bob was a little different. He was just he was happy he was married, happy that he was back, and excited that just to see her, finally be here and to finally show her all these things that finally when she does come here. Me, it was a little different for me because I just had to feel this whole processing of readjustment.
Mhm.
And are you ready for the heat? We talked about how the weather is hotter here in America in some cases, but dealing with consecutive amounts of heat or consecutive amounts of rain. That was kind of one thing that we did mention about that situation too. And then, are you ready for travel requirements? I did talk about travel requirements a little bit. If you are ready for that, I could probably share my screen again, but I probably won't. But all you have to do is just go to philippineairlines.com, and then you go to let me see if I can find it real quick. Manage. Sorry, you go to prepare. Let me just share my screen again real quick. Just show it off again. One second. I'm doing this real quick. And to help you also present yourself, share the screen. Okay. And Philippines. No, wrong one. That. What? Why? I just want to go here. Enter Philippine. Okay. Now let's try. There it is. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen right now. So if you want to know how to prepare yourself just with travel requirements, this is something that I was kind of briefly mentioning. So you go to philippineairlines.com, you go to prepare, and then this is going to kind of fickle, but you kind of go to travel requirements here, and you just put in your origin, so where you're coming from, which I just did, Los Angeles, let's just say that. And then we're going to Manila, let's just say that. And your vaccine status, you don't have to be vaccinated, but you have to register and let them know that if you're fully vaccinated, fully recovered, or unvaccinated. And then what kind of person you are to travel. If you're foreign national, whether you're a 9A visa, whether you're a visa free visa person, where are we at right here? And then you hit search here. And then out of that, it gives you a whole list here. You have to sign up for e-travel within a 72-hour period. And then your passport validity, you have to at least have a 6-month visa. Bob mentioned that he needs to probably get his passport renewed here soon. You also need to have a return ticket. And I did mention if you plan on wanting to stay there longer, extending your stay, you do need a burner ticket because you're not allowed to stay more than 30 days on a tourist visa. But you can extend your stay. You just have to go through the processes of you have to go through and tell them, hey, you have to have a return ticket, but there is things that you can do to get a temporary what people call a burner ticket, and basically refunds back your money, and basically you're putting yourself into like saying you're about to leave but you're actually really staying, and you're going to get paid back for actually acting like you're leaving, but then you're going to extend your visa, and you can and depending on where you go and what kind of organization you can go, you can extend it for 3 or 6 months or longer. It depends on the different organizations you try to go through. Some of them won't even let you extend your stay, and that's just kind of how that is. And then what kind of visa you have also, and these are your requirements here. That's how that plays out.
Paul made a comment about planning less for his trip because otherwise he gets into analysis paralysis. That can happen if you're going to be alone, but if you're going to meet somebody, that Filipina will help guide the trip. We can go here. That's not practical. We can go there. Whatever she wants to do, I think she'll help set the agenda, and so that you won't have to do much planning. But if you just want to do the basics and then just get there, then and know where to go and where to stay and how to communicate, then you might be just fine. It all depends if you're going to meet somebody or you're just going out there cold for a long time.
Oh, for a cold call, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, just I hope I meet somebody or know somebody that knows somebody, and I'll just start talking to
Yeah.
women. That's possible. But then I guess you don't have to plan a whole lot. And if you're going to meet somebody, they'll probably help you plan for the trip. So,
Mhm.
I mean, there's not much to plan for. It's just more preparing mentally for the grind of the trip and the weather and everything else and being away from home. It can start to bother if you start thinking, I'm 8,000 miles away
Yeah.
from home. Some people, that might get on their mind a little bit. It's a long way.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, we're 30,000 feet above the air. It's like, what? I'm 8,000 miles from where I live? That's outrageous. Lumpia, yeah, I think Paul has. I'm sure I have. I just don't know what
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. He just says thank you for the summary and the points for latecomers. Yeah, I did try Olympia, and yeah, it was really good. Yeah, thanks for the summary points. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you okay. Yeah. Yeah. I did try some of it with my wife, and it was good. I did try some of that. Yes, it's good. And then Paul says he would be meeting a Filipina. That's awesome. I'm good. Yeah,
Okay.
if you
No,
have any yeah, if you have any questions, because you did express the fact that you want to shorten up your trip. If you have any possibilities of why you want to shorten your trip and what your plans are, um, my best advice is just to make an itinerary, to make a plan. You know, tell like where you're going to meet on a particular day at a particular time, what you guys plan on doing. That's my best plan. It's what worked out for me. I managed to pretty much fill out most of like 98% of my whole bucket list. I wouldn't have gotten to my 98% of my bucket list if I didn't accidentally get stranded 2 extra days, though.
I never went with a bucket list at all, other than to get married. I mean, you were there somewhat as a tourist. You want to see these things, experience these things,
I
make
wanted to
videos.
experience them with my wife,
I just want to come back a married man.
yeah, I know. I wanted to come back a married man, but I was also going there because I wanted to see the Philippines. I wanted to take my wife along too. So it was kind of this whole thing is this like,
Oh,
hey,
that's understandable.
you know, hey, this is a once in a chance lifetime. My wife lives and works on this farm, nothing, doesn't ever get to do anything. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take you on an adventure of a lifetime. So let's go. And we did. And I think a lot of it tired her out, but and I got a lot of footage of her being a little angry, but it's fine. But at least I
Yeah.
got to see the real her, you know.
Well, and yeah, and you still will 5 years after you're married,
Yeah. So
because you'll get into different situations and different stressors.
mhm.
And then, okay, well, this is brand new. Let's see how she
Yeah.
reacts, and she'll find out how you react.
Well, I got to see some other things that I probably wouldn't have ever saw in her. And on top of seeing that in her, taking her on those adventures, because I said, you know, I'm probably gonna make you do things you don't want to do. And I did. I told her that because I'm just that kind of person. That's just how I am. I'd like to do these things, and it's something that I enjoy doing, and I plan on doing with you. But here's the deal. It's been what, over a year and a half later now, and she remembers those things that we used to do that she was kind of angry about, but she misses them.
Mm.
She misses doing them with me. And I'm glad that I got so much footage of our adventures together that we're able to reminisce on those and still spend time together. We're still able to talk about God. We're able to do Bible verses together, on top of me still uploading videos of our time together and me trying to put this whole YouTube channel together on top of it. Kind of because my YouTube channel is also not just about trying to inform people about things and helping them, but it's also to help educate them. And sorry, it's not just about educating, but it's also about remembering my time with my wife. You know, kind of like these are our memories that we shared. So I put these up there, and like my latest video is pretty much a shorter version of this 3 hour long live stream now, and only with 6 different topics, and kind of gives a little bit more in-depth stuff, but it's full of like little bits and pieces of our adventure together. I didn't get to show Bob it, but because I just uploaded it right before we started to go live. But if you want to check out that video, think it's about 15 minutes long. It's like little over, no, it's 16 minutes long. It's 16 minutes long, and it's chock full of a whole bunch of our little parts of our adventure, along with a whole bunch of information of what to prepare for.
Okay, Paul. Well, I gotta get some dinner here before Isaac comes home from work.
Okay.
Get some rest in, and thank you for the topic. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for this whole live stream
Hey, no problem.
set up, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very much, and I hope this does help people.
Yeah.
One last comment from Paul there before I take off.
Yep. It does seem to be tempting to try many things versus pacing yourself and focus on who you're with. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if she thinks she's the prime reason you're there,
Yeah.
she's going to want you to include her and talk about your relationship with her and meet the parents, the family, the siblings, cousins, the most important people in her life. That's what she probably wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. It depends on you. It's just I just wanted to do both. So, and I was able to stretch it out to do both. And but I wanted to spend a lot of time with my wife along with it. And it was but I mean, I know there's several people. I just talked to one in particular individual that only wanted to stay in the hometown where his new wife is going to be at. And I was just kind of ministering on him, and I was like, that's fine if that's what you want to do. I'm not going to push you to go anywhere else. I think they were talking about going down to Davao, though. They were planning a trip down Davao, so that was cool though. And there's plenty of new just in Davao. Bob knows that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe next year we'll get to do some more things.
All right, and we're gonna call it at night, and you all have a blessed night, and see you all later. See you next week.
Have a good weekend.
Goodbye. God bless you guys.